fading. We gotta go. I'll get my car. I brought mine. Yours. I gotta get me one of those.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bat Dance Discussions. And welcome to the 500 subscribers stream. Yes, I have hit 500 subscribers and then finally got enough cushion to celebrate. Because I always like to get a bit of a cushion because you know how it goes. Sometimes you get subscribers, you lose some, so I always give myself a cushion. I'm at that cushion, and I'm really excited for this stream to just really celebrate. And who we have in the chat, we got Integrity, DC Talk, Dennis Medina, and thank you to everyone saying congratulations. By the way, Jeffrey Warfield, DC Talk, Oracle's Clock Tower. I only see you when I have certain people on my channel. I wonder who I have on tonight. We got DC Talk, Mama Bear, and is that another? I think you're like, you guys are from like the battalion, right? Huh. And another battalion crew? Another battalion crew. Interesting. So I wonder who I'm having on right now. But yes, for this 500 subscriber stream, we are going to talk about my two favorite things today. Two of my favorite things. I have plenty of favorite things, but Netflix and Batman. And since it's Batman, this guy was so perfect to bring on. I really wanted to bring on someone special for this stream. And I love this guy so much. He's such a great friend of mine. Even if he loves scientific inaccuracy, even if he loves seeing raptors without feathers that they would have, T-Rexes without the feathers that they would have, Godzilla without the feathers that he would have. Despite all that, I'm really excited to have this person. Shit. Oh my God. I was going to have Trey on my channel. It was going to be Trey, but he's not on. Oh no, guys. I guess I'm doing this by myself, I guess. I guess that's just... How could you do this to me? How could you bail on me at the last minute?
What are you talking about? I'm Corey.
If you were Corey, I'd see Christmas stuff right now.
Well, speaking of that, Dan, Corey told me I had to do this. So...
Well, that's just a regular tree, you know. So I can.
Sure, but
let
no
this
regular
go.
tree has lights on it.
Are you gonna leave that there?
It's to celebrate your 500 celebrations. It's lights. It's like fireworks. No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I should have known Corey was gonna do this,
Well,
especially since you.
he messaged me. He's like, because we were gonna do some recording for one of our videos, and he was like, well, I told him, I was like, I can't tonight, and he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm hanging out with Batman. And he was like, oh, really? Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, just celebrating 500 subscribers because this man's a goat now. And he was like, well, you have to do this one thing. And I was like, he told me that you can't put Christmas stuff in his chat. He's like, I'm not putting anything in his chat. Just put up the tree. I was like, okay, I will do that.
That's okay. He's still my favorite Hamsmith.
That hurts. He would probably really appreciate that comment too.
Yeah, it goes Corey, Dianasaur, Wonder Wife Sarah.
You mean to tell me that Corey beats Diana?
Yes.
How dare you? That's just
and then Super Batmom and Deadpool are tied for 4th place. Actually, no, I'll put Super Batmom above Deadpool just because she's DC and he's Marvel. And then it's you.
Oh, I love that. That's hilarious.
But how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, dude. It's first off, it's great to be here with you and to celebrate on your big day of 500 subscribers, dude. I'm so happy for you. Honestly, if anything, I'm gonna beat up your followers a little bit. This man needs to be at 1K. Like, whatever you guys need to do, you need to like his stuff, comment on his videos, share his videos, go on Twitter and like post all that stuff. You got to help because that's the only way we get bigger. And this guy deserves it. He's working hard, making some good content for you guys. So let's get this man. Let's give him a 1K. 500's awesome, and I love to hear it. But this dude, honestly, if I had it my way, Batman, we'd already be at 10K together, my man. You know, so we'll get you there, buddy. We'll get you there. Zod, what's up, dude?
What up, Zod? I'm actually glad you're in the chat right now. But yeah, thank you, Trey. I really appreciate it. And that is the next goal. Absolutely. 1K, which we will get there. Mm-hmm. I know we will.
Yes, sir.
And now I want to bring this up. So we have a lot of people who may not know about this. So this is One Punch Man Cinematic Universe. One Punch Man is a movie by my good friend Zod Writer, all done with AI. And with my permission, I am the star of this movie, where he gets to see One Punch Man take on the evil Isage. And that loser, just Josh. But he's not a bad guy. He's just a loser in the movie.
Just Josh. You know what's tough about this movie is because I know you guys, and I'll see like people like, you know, some similar, you know, people, because that's what he used. I'm gonna be like, oh, Josh. I love Josh. He's the nicest dude in the world. You know?
Oh, he is. But just Josh and One Punch Man have a rivalry,
which they should. If there's anyone you got to have a rivalry with, it's Josh. So it's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see, especially with like how crazy we've seen AI get lately. And Zod, I know he's been working on this for a long time. You know me, I'm skeptical about AI. To me, it's like John Connor's like rolling over in his grave right now. But I'm curious to see like the finished product of how it comes out, so I can be like, wow, this is what we're capable of at just even this level. So it's kind of scary, and all at the same time of how cool original content people are making. So excited, dude.
Thank you. And before I say that, what up, Austin? Thank you for stopping by. And thank you, because you're the one who designs all these awesome intros and backgrounds for me. So, but yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I have my own skepticism about AI too. And, you know, there's moments I still wish it didn't exist because it does terrify me. But my thing with One Punch Man, it's here to stay whether we like it or not. So I say, let's have some fun with it. And,
that's a great point.
But yeah, I'm really excited because Zod's putting a lot of hard work into this movie. And it comes out March 14th, Pi Day. And I was going to see it this month. But Zod, right, I'm telling you this live now. Because you keep saying it's finished and you keep adding stuff to it because you're the perfectionist that you are. I'm going to wait till February to see this. I'm going to give you another 2 weeks, Zod. to really finish the movie, okay? 2 weeks to really decide, is this done? Do I need to add more? Is this really done? So I'm telling you that right now because I want to see it for the first time as the finished product. And what up, Red Hooded Outlaw?
Oh, what's up, dude?
Oh yeah, Austin, absolutely. And we'll definitely talk about that a little bit later. But guys, check out One Punch Man. It's going to be a great movie. I'm really excited for it. And we're on IMDb now.
What? Really? Did you have to make
Yes.
like a profile account for like you as an actor, as a voice actor, or what would it be for AI? Would you be considered a voice actor for? Yeah, right. You should be. I would think.
Yeah, so I'm
How's
trying
that?
to so I didn't do anything. It just appeared on there.
Well, I know
So
IMDb. I think like fans can like like put stuff on there. It's kind of like the Wikipedia of like film stuff, but or like any type of entertainment. Um, but yeah, how about that? What are the logistics? That just kind of blew my mind. I want. Do you have it up? Yeah, let's see this. That's so crazy.
and then unfortunately the billing's not quite correct
I
because
was gonna
here I
say
am, Dan Kersey.
that's it. You need to speak with your agent immediately and speak to Zodwriter because you're getting gypped, dude. I don't know what's going on here. Why you're not the top billing infuriates me right now.
Yep.
That's cool though.
I
That's kind of crazy. So wait, if you click on Dan Kersey, what does it say?
well, there's no Dan Kersey on here. There's a Dan Kersey, but not a
Kersey,
Dan
sorry, my
Kersey.
bad.
A lot of people make that mistake. So I am known for One Punch Man, which makes sense because that's the only thing I actually did. Well, technically, I was in a movie called Are They Dead Yet, which is on YouTube. Okay, names
Yes.
are in alphabetical order.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Got LOL in there. Oh man, that's a old man. Noel, is that supposed to be Noel Land Flores?
I think so.
That's cool. That's dope.
So, yeah, I'm really excited for this, and I definitely cannot do my 500 subscriber stream without talking about One Punch Man. So, Zod, my man, you keep saying it's done. Again, I'm telling you right now, and Zod, I didn't tell Zod any of this. He's finding this out for the first time. You got 2 weeks, man. You got 2 weeks to really go through the movie, decide if it's really done. So this is your time to get all your perfectionism out of the way, because February, I want to see this thing. And I want to see it actually done. Oh, it's just honoring Noel. Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, I'm really oh my god, I want to go back to this because I do got to share this one person real quick. So I want to share where is he? This guy right here, Mikey Sutton as Mikey Sanderson. He was a good friend to Trey, myself, Zodwriter, to us all who passed away. This will be his 3rd year. And Zodwriter got permission from his yeah.
Wow.
And Zodwriter got permission from his family to honor Mikey in this movie and to use Mikey's voice for this movie. So Mikey plays a really great character, and I wanted to share that out real quick. And so, but yeah, I wanted to share that before we transition out of here because we got a lot to talk about today. But we'll share some screenshots real quick too, because again, I don't want to. We have a lot we have to get through today, so.
It's crazy.
Oh, boo! Just Josh, boo!
You gotta admit though, that looks so good. Like that's Josh.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
And Savage Bat is all up in there with his black coat and everything. It's hilarious to me. Like that's so
Necron, and I guess I fight Necron in this movie. And by the way, these aren't. this is not in the movie. These are ads that IMDb likes to show. So, but yeah. So I'm not gonna go again. Like we have a lot we need to talk about today, but just again, thank you, Zodwriter, for all this work you're doing. And I couldn't do the 500 subscriber celebration without showing this off.
Out of curiosity, do you know how much time Zod has put into it? Has he been recording at all?
A lot. A lot. Let's just say he has been really busy, but he has put a lot of time. So, guys, when this comes out on Pi Day, let's watch the shit out of this movie. I'm going to cover this movie. I'm not going to review this movie on my channel because that would be a conflict of interest, but I will cover it. Nearly 2 years.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's crazy.
So, absolutely. So, again, thank you, Zod, for...
No, he's still working on it, so we don't have a final runtime yet, right?
Well, it was supposed to be an hour because, well, the thing is, he was done at one point, and then he said he had to make some changes, so it's done again. I'm just saying, because he keeps saying it's done and he keeps needing to perfect it more, like any artist.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to wait till February to make sure that this is really done. Truth is, February is probably not going to be enough time either, but I want to see this movie.
Think positive thoughts, Batman. We will see this in here.
So
integrity, my man.
Between 62 and 70 minutes tweaking it.
Okay. Is there going to be a Zodwriter cut? Do I need to start petitioning?
Actually, yeah, there will be. At some point. Okay. I don't know what I'm allowed to say after that, so...
Oh, so you just pulled...
Oh, there won't be. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Anyways. Oh, you're writing the sequel.
Is that breaking news? I mean, I know we're creating a universe here, but that's awesome.
So the thing with me is Zod tells me so much stuff that I don't know what's private and what's public anymore. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't
start signing him to an NDA, Zod. Otherwise, he's going to be the next Tom Holland. Just dropping everything. So Josh beats you in the third act.
Okay, anyway, I guess I'm doing the rest of this without Trey. You're already putting the Christmas tree up there. Don't push it.
Fair. That's a good point.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see this movie. It'll be a great movie. And now I'm gonna move on to another movie that comes out. So like when I do a lot of these DC Netflix streams, I always like to show off Zack Snyder's Instagram post. So and just, I'm going to gloss over some photos just because this, there's a certain we'll get to certain things as they come up. So here's one photo filmed in Iceland, Colombia. And then this is, because it's a drug bust movie, is my understanding. So this guy looks like he's had a lot.
This is actually a before picture of someone at the dentist's office getting ready. You're going to see the after picture in just a moment. See, look how attractive he became. Kind of looks like the Keen in Rebel Moon. That's what Zack does to people. Sorry.
I missed you, Trey. But another one of Ethan Black. Another great photo right here. And let me see, this one is... I'm going to assume this is also last photograph.
Maybe. And then Zack just looking like a OG, in the Amazon.
So, yeah, I know I kind of glossed through these photos, but we have a lot to get through today. But still, Trey, what was your thoughts just seeing the photos and just this movie in general?
I mean, I have no idea what the story is about. I've
What a
read a little
drug
bit.
bust.
Yeah, I've read a little bit of a summary on it and how they're using like a photographer like has like the evidence or something that they need to like solve the thing going on. But eh, here's just the thing with Zach. Like when he takes his photos, people go nuts, and it's because he is a very visual, artistic. He just has a beautiful eye, for those beautiful shots. So I know it's kind of like Tom Cruise, right? Like Tom Cruise kind of has this um aura about him that people just know they're going to see something cinematic when you go to his movie. Zack Snyder's that same thing for me. Like I know no matter what the movie is, I could know nothing about it, but I know I'm going to see something visually stunning, and to me, that's enough. So what's up,
What's up, Curly Ray?
Brandon?
Thank you for coming on last time. Curly and I had a great discussion about Stranger Things, so check that out.
I finally just finished that. Just finished it.
So I would ask you how that goes, but I feel like no matter what your answer is, we'll get very off topic. But I will say this.
We'll go on a tangent.
I want to see the Bat Channel review of it, though. I want to see the official Bat Channel review.
I did record a reaction video to it because I wanted to throw some things down because I was so late on it. I saw all the social media backlash, and so I had some thoughts. So you'll see it eventually.
Okay, good. And we also need to see a review of Superman since you saw that movie. Hashtag release the super roast.
Ain't happening. You're not even supposed to make that public. I want that erased from my memory. I was forced to watch it.
Oh, sorry about that, Trey. I didn't know that was a secret.
It was a tragedy. That's what it was.
Well, I was actually forced to watch it too. My dad made me watch it because he said I needed to cover it for my channel. And I told my dad, I'm throwing you under the bus when I review this movie. I told him, it's like, look, I already told people I wasn't going to see this movie. So if I review this movie, I have to blame you so that my audience doesn't think of me as a liar.
That's fair.
But oh boy, what up, Josh? Thanks for stopping by.
I'm rooting for him.
You're rooting for me. That was pointing towards me, right? You weren't pointing towards that.
I was pointing towards Josh's comment. You know I love what? Josh.
What Ezra Miller photo? When did this happen?
That Zack posted or Ezra?
I mean, because if it's just like some random Ezra Miller post that some person did, I mean, that's just whatever. But if like Zack or Ezra posted something, let me know. I'm not DC Talk. If you know, my Twitter account is BatDan350. It will say BatDan saw it. Just send it to me. I'm not gonna search for it midstream. But thank you though. Thank you for asking about that. Anyways, but yeah. Anyway, last photograph. Great movie. But speaking of DC, so now we're gonna show Zack Snyder's DC and other posts. So like basically like he has like a 300 posts in there. So I wanted to show that off too. So we'll start from here. So look at this. So Henry Cavill in the Christopher Reeve suit, because for those of you who don't know, a lot of times when they test out actors, when they cast actors, they have them wear movies from the previous suit. So, like David Cornswetter wore the Man of Steel suit for his audition, I think, too. But, oh, look at this. Trey, and was Christmas 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Curly Ray. Hey, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's saying 2 weeks, because I definitely did it, like, on Christmas or something, whenever he posted it.
And Zack Snyder's been doing a lot of Fortnite posts. And
can't go wrong. We need to get some Fortnite.
Ray Fisher. And there's Rebel Moon Theory again. But this is the first Ray Fisher post I think I've seen. So now we need Ezra next. And look, Wayne T. Carr commented. Zod. Not Zod writer. Zod. The actual comic book character Zod. But it was liked by Zod writer.
The actual Zod that you got to kneel before. You know, you can kneel before Zod Rider, but something else would probably happen.
And nice little 300 photo too of Xerxes,
Xerxes. Yeah.
which that was the movie I reviewed with Corey for my 300 subscriber celebration.
Did you guys? Oh,
because,
that's right. I do recall that. Yeah, that was a fun stream.
and Corey managed to do a 300 Christmas background. And look, Batman. So this one's really, I mean, all these DC photos are important for this discussion later on, but look, Batman, Batfleck.
Such a cool photo.
Everyone getting a job, even Superman before saving the world. Clark Kent waiting tables. And look, Skywalker even with the hashtags. But, and by the way, I totally support Superman Brit destroying that guy's truck.
Why did people hate that?
John Glover, Lionel Luthor went after him for doing that. Went after the movie for Clark Kent doing that. Because he was being rude to someone. Like, no, he literally harassed a woman. Like,
only a Luthor would say such a thing.
Yep.
But it's okay if Christopher Reeve's Superman breaks a dude's hand because he's a bully.
Well, you got to remember, these rules only apply for Zack Snyder.
That's right. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, my bad. Shame on you, Zack.
And another Fortnite. Interesting. But I guess just seeing all these DC posts and even like the 300 posts, what's your thoughts on this?
I think if anything, you know, if you want to just take it for blanket value and not like read too much into it, what it shows is people are still very much engaged with his view on DC, on how he, you know, the creative mind behind that. Because when you look at it, people go insane. People are talking about it, and then when he, you know, it blows up on social media, and then you look at something that like DC puts out, like the actual official DC Twitter page puts out like the Supergirl Twitter thing, and it barely gets the same engagement that Zack gets on a picture from years ago. So it's kind of insane when you think about it. So I think just blanket value, you can still see that Zack's stamp on DC still holds very strong. People are still very much involved and interested in it. So if there's, you know, a certain studio like, you know, Netflix, who's in the process of purchasing another said studio, wishes to continue a certain IP of said studio, I would highly recommend it. Netflix, SnyderVerse on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Hashtag ZSJ on Netflix, hashtag SnyderVerse on Netflix, because Netflix already bought Warner Brothers. Obviously, we'll talk about some of the logistics of that, but Netflix already made the purchase, so no need to campaign for them to buy it anymore.
Is it fully done though? Like, is it?
Well, we'll talk about that. But my point is, Netflix already like did the purchase, so there's no point in campaigning for them to buy the SnyderVerse.
I see. I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about some of that other stuff later on, though. But the point is, we see Zack Snyder posting DC, and then the thing I do want to point out, I mean, you see him post more DC than anything else, other than maybe Last Photograph. Like, I mean, he posts 300, he posts Rebel Moon, but it's the DC that he's consistently posting, and we do need that Ezra post. He got the other 5. Now it's time for Ezra, and he posted Amber Heard. So Zack Snyder's not afraid of controversy, guys. So
he's never been afraid of that. Have Superman snap Zod's neck. Go.
But I think Zack Snyder's just shown that he's still very interested in DC. So yeah, I think this is, I mean, that's why I kind of like what Zodrider says. No matter what, I think we're pretty good. I think pretty good things are to come for SnyderVerse fans, because Zack Snyder knows more than the average person does. Like than you or me. Like, he's in the industry. So
he
something's
definitely
happening.
Has the contacts.
So we'll see. But I'm just saying, this signs are pointing positive. So Now I want to send a reminder because this stream is called Netflix and Batman. I can't do this stream and not mention the Netflix movie that comes out this week that's starring Batman. Well, I'm sorry, Ben Affleck, but he's our Batman. So, Trey, I haven't had you on to talk about this yet. Have you seen any trailers for this movie?
I've seen one, and I was already hooked. I didn't want to watch too much because trailers nowadays, I feel like they give away the whole movie almost. I mean, when Godzilla Kong came out, I knew exactly what happened in the entire movie without seeing it. So
That's fair. Yeah, you knew exactly that they were going to say fuck science. We're not going to give this theropod feathers.
the Christmas tree stays up all year now. Jesus.
But yeah, I really like when I saw this movie. It's the same way. It just looks like a really good movie, and it's really funny seeing Ben Affleck and Matt Damon at each other's throats just because of how they are in real life.
Yeah, and honestly, I think to me, it's a great sign. Like when you think about like Matt Damon's coming off of The Odyssey, which is going to be an Oscar-nominated film. It's definitely going to be in that discussion, and before anyone has even seen it. And then you got Ben Affleck, who's done, some big films like Argo, and obviously what we know and love with him in Batman v Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League and stuff like that. And even his Live by Night film is, to me, if those two are coming together to do a movie, they're not coming together just because they want to work with each other, just because, hey, how great is it to have buddies on set? To me, it tells me that this film's probably be a really, really good film. So I'm super stoked for it. And especially Artist Equity, man, they're doing some great shit for this, for just the industry of just how to treat your employees. I think we're going to talk about that later, but kudos to that whole team.
I'm really glad you said that, Trey, because even though Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are literally best friends, they don't do all their movies together. They do movies together, but they do a lot of movies apart, and that's a really good point. So yeah, I mean, the fact that they're coming together on this movie must mean they're really passionate about it. And also what I love, they got another DCEU actor in this movie. Sasha Calle.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, she is in it. Yeah. I mean, that alone, I'm glad for her that, after losing the Supergirl role because of the whole Gunverse was, I mean, just as heartbreaking as it was for the rest of the DCEU. So to see her still be able to succeed in this industry and get some other big roles like this RIP is going to be awesome.
Exactly, and I really love that because I feel like even though I don't think Ben Affleck really worked with Sasha Calle on The Flash because they didn't have a single scene together, I'm sure there were moments they were on set at the same time, and but because even Ben Affleck's putting Ray Fisher in another Netflix movie, Animals, I think it's called.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ben Affleck is giving these other DCU actors work, and yes, exactly. I like no matter what people thought about the Flash film, I know like. I love the Flash film. I recognize its issues, but no one can complain about Sasha Calle. Like, if you're saying Sasha Calle was bad, I just don't trust your judgment. But
I mean, even when I think about the very last film that they did together, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, Air. I don't know if you saw Air. It was through Amazon Prime, but that was through Artist Equity, and that movie got snubbed. Zack, I don't know what it is about Ben Affleck. He just tends to get snubbed from Oscars nowadays. I think there's a real weird stigma around him because, like, I'm glad he got it for Argo, but the fact that he got snubbed on, the best director and he won best film made no sense. Him and Matt won a long time ago for a movie called Good Will Hunting. And now their Air was an incredible sports film. And it didn't, not even Viola Davis got like nominated for Best Actress, which was insane to me. I don't know. The Academies sometimes are a little BS in my opinion.
I don't watch the Oscars anymore. I mean, the best thing that happened about the Oscars, I mean, I'm just saying, Oscar slapping Marty while insulting Gloria was probably one of the best things that happened for the Oscars.
Yeah. And we had some honorary Oscars too for the SnyderVerse and what was that, Army of the Dead? That got
Yes, Zack Snyder's Justice League and Army of the Dead. They won the 2 fan voted Oscars, and
That's right.
I think, stopped doing fan voted Oscars after that.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, social media can really blow this out of proportion.
But I just say, guys, support this movie. I'm going to be doing a watch party along it. I'm sure Trey will cover it on his channel. I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak for you, Trey, but you better cover this on your channel.
The RIP, yeah, it's one of my most anticipated films. So yeah, definitely, it's happening.
Because I'll say this: if you want Ben Affleck to be Batman on Netflix, like especially get his Batfleck movie that Artist Equity will be involved in, should it happen, his other movies on Netflix need to be successful. So.
Yeah.
But also just looks like a damn good movie too. Like, it's the kind of, like, I'm not gonna lie, there's certain movies that a director will do and an actor will do, I will watch it because it's that actor. And there's movies I do that I would be interested in even if I didn't care about this actor. This movie I would still be watching because it looks really good, really great acting. I'm really excited to see it. So watch it this week, guys. Watch the Oscars. Sorry, we were talking about the Oscars. Watch R.I.P. Don't fuck the Oscars, but watch R.I.P.
Settle down, Chris Tucker. Not Chris Tucker, Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock. Which, it's funny. They was even talking about Madagascar 4 today. I'm like, how's that gonna? I mean, for people, just so people realize, Chris Rock voiced Marty, Jada Pinkett Smith voiced Gloria. So.
Ooh.
and then Will Smith voiced a character named Oscar in Shark Tale, which is also a DreamWorks film.
Oh yeah.
So, but anyway, watch R.I.P. this week. And but I will say, when I first heard about this movie when I saw this movie on Twitter, I kept thinking Ben Affleck died. Because I saw R.I.P. Ben Affleck.
Oh, I see what you're saying. What way to give us all a heart attack of what?
Yeah, no, I kept thinking because if I didn't really know about the movie, when it was first talked about, I just saw R.I.P. Ben Affleck. So I'm like, shit.
It's the end of us.
But anyway, R.I.P. out this week. And now we have another Batman universe I want to talk about. So, ReevesVerse, Poaches MCU actor Sebastian Stan as Two-Face. Trey, I remember you and Corey brought me on to review this movie, the first movie with you, and this was before I was a YouTuber.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I would appear on other people's channels, but I didn't have my own channel at the time.
And I think we were really pushing you at the end of the show. It's time. You got to.
Yeah,
and look at you now, 500 subs.
But what is your thoughts seeing this?
Actually, Sebastian Stan was not a person that I was even thinking about for this role because I don't try to mix Marvel and DC actors just because to me, I think they would like to get out of the genre and do other things, especially Marvel, which is just such a machine of putting out the same crap over and over again. And I'm not saying Marvel is crap. I'm just saying their film's formula of what they think a Marvel movie should be tends to be the same type of action thrown in with a bit of comedy, family friendly kind of shtick to it. It doesn't really push the envelope so much. But with something like here with Batman, especially Matt Reeves' Batman with his whole crime detective noir style, when I heard Sebastian got it as Harvey Dent, I was kind of like, that's not a bad choice. I think he could play. I think he could be a more comic book accurate Two-Face than what we have gotten in the past. Not that Tommy Lee Jones was bad and, Batman Forever. Still want to see the Schumacher cut. Let's go, Netflix. But he kind of was very whimsical with it, because that's what they were wanting from the Schumacher version. And then with I'm totally forgetting the actor's name in
Aaron
Dark Knight.
Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart, thank you. He was wonderful, brilliant performance, but where I felt like he didn't quite hit the mark for me, and I think that it was just a directorial choice of there was Harvey Dent, who was, you know, the Boy Scout, and then there when he became Two-Face, it was just Two-Face. You know, it was just scary man the entire time, scary criminal. And you didn't really get that split personality. There was no more Harvey in there. Here I think we could get the split personalities. One moment he's Harvey Dent, the other moment he's Two-Face, which I think let me ask you this, Bat Dan. Do you think they're going to start him off as Harvey Dent, district attorney?
I think they will. I do think they will do that. I don't. Well, I don't know. Here's one reason. Now that you mention it, though, there's one reason why they may not. I didn't think about this. Who, I mean, I'm sure you know the answer, but I'm just going to ask anyways. Who makes Harvey Dent Two-Face in the comics?
Well, that kind of changes through which run are you talking about?
Well, just like in general, if you think about the comics, who makes Harvey Dent Two-Face? The mobster who makes Harvey Dent Two-Face. Who's the name of the mobster who does that?
Isn't it Maroni? Am I wrong?
Yes, you're right. Salvatore Maroni. And did you see the Penguin series?
Yes. Yeah.
And Penguin's been out long enough, guys, so there will be spoilers. What happens to Maroni at the end of the Penguin?
He don't make it.
So I think, I mean, realistically, what I think will probably happen is that Harvey Dent will become Two-Face, so they'll just change what happens, how he gets it. But I do keep the option open that maybe we might get a flashback on it. And thank you, Sinhav. Again, wait, what? What are you talking about, Sin? Helga? What are you?
Helga. That's an interesting... Because I think in the Batman Part 1, it's been a while since I've seen the Batman, for obvious reasons, but I don't exactly recall. I think the district attorney dies in that, right? I think the Riddler gets him.
Yes, I saw it twice. I saw it once in theaters, and I saw it once before watching the Penguin, because I wanted to rewatch it before Penguin, because I'm...
it's kind of funny. So I know this is going to go like a little off tangent, but it'll be super quick. I remember when we did our Batman review together of that movie, and I was kind of like, it's okay. Like, it's not great. And then the more we talked about it, it's like, okay, actually, there's a lot of issues here. And then I rewatched it when it finally came out on HBO Max, and I was like, it's actually not a very good. There's elements that are amazing in it, and there's elements that are so awful that you're just like, it kind of messes it up for me. After seeing Superman, I raised the Batman film up a little bit more. I was like, you know what? I'm actually kind of grateful for you, because that at least is watchable. The other is not. So I would much rather have the ReevesVerse than whatever the hell this silly Marvel. I mean, DC. It's a Marvel verse, right? Guns versus a Marvel verse.
Feels like it, but no. Yeah. But it's funny though, because I thought the Penguin series was so much better than the Batman. Like, I did not expect to like the Penguin so much, and I think the showrunner of the Penguin should be director. But anyway, you were gonna say?
Oh no, you actually brought up a great point. Like the Penguin, and it's weird to think that Matt Reeves wrote the Penguin as well. Like he wrote that, and to me, the quality of writing is so much better. He made such a morally complex character with the Penguin, because there's moments like you realize you're rooting for the bad guy in some cases. And then when he does, the horrible thing that he does at the end to his partner in crime, who went up to bat for him, it's kind of, you're just like, wow, what like a cool, just like brilliant character. Like, I really thought like doing a show about the Penguin seemed a little silly to me, because we haven't like really established Batman in this whole world yet. And after seeing the Penguin, I was like, okay, it definitely improves the Batman movie simply because of that character. But now the worst part is, I think people are more excited to see the Penguin like show up at some point than like when Batman will show up, because he'll just be walking his way on screen, you know?
Yep. Uh, you see, I think what it just shows, though, what you said, though, about Matt Reeves' writing, because there's a different showrunner, I think there's execution. Execution plays a big part of it. Like, I think the
Totally.
Batman, Matt Reeves had a lot of great ideas. This was a great movie on paper.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was the execution of said movie, and that's why I'm hoping that the showrunner of Penguins is involved, because Sid Havoc said something I'm really glad about. So we know that Scarlett Johansson is also supposed to be in this movie too, and this brings up my same concern with Sebastian Stan. On one hand, I do see Sebastian Stan could be Two-Face because he does have the experience with split personality with the Winter Soldier. But the other thing I'm wondering though, Trey, do they really want Sebastian Stan? Do they really think Scarlett Johansson's the perfect actress for whatever role she's going to play? Or are they trying to draw in the Marvel crowd, not through tone, but through actors?
You know, that's an interesting question. Part of me, I want to say no. I don't think they're trying to draw in the Marvel crowd. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with the Marvel crowd. I mean, if that is their goal, I'm going to question a little bit of like what they're trying to achieve, because yes, we're superhero fans. Yes, we're comic book fans. But I think there's always been a bit of a tonal difference of who likes Marvel movies and who like Marvel comics versus who likes DC comics. There is a totally different. DC was always kind of known as the more mature form of comic books, and then you had Marvel, which was a lot more family friendly. And since then, they've kind of mixed the areas a little bit. But in terms of Scarlett, I think she's just kind of a powerhouse name. You know, she's definitely someone that just brings in people. I mean, that's why they also brought her in for Jurassic World Rebirth. And yes, she always wanted to be a part of it. But when you look at Scarlett Johansson in that role, do you like, when I watched the movie, I didn't go like, oh my God, only Scarlett Johansson could play that role, you know? So I think there is a lot of like, you know, big name pulls here to bring people in, because I think Hollywood still holds on to this idea of, you know, superstars, you know, the A-list actors that are going to bring in people. And I think there are some like that. But what they're doing there, I'm not sure. I do like the idea, though. I will say, if Scarlett Johansson is going to play Phantasm, I'm kind of excited about that. I mean, that's a character we've never seen before on screen. So the sad part is we kind of like, us, the fans, will know immediately. Another version that I'm kind of hoping for. So I talked about this before with the Batman. It is very reminiscent of the Telltale video game that came out many years ago. And I kind of hoped, when I heard Scarlett Johansson was getting a role, I had kind of hoped that maybe if she's not Phantasm, I'm hoping she's Vicky Vale. And I know that sounds like Trey. That's like, why would they bring in such a big actress for Vicky Vale, just a reporter? In Telltale, she's a much bigger character. I don't want, if you haven't played it, I don't want to ruin it for you, because it's one of the best Batman games. You need to. One of the best video games of Batman that's not the Arkham verse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I could, like, in terms of Phantasm, I could see her as Phantasm or Vicky Vale. I mean, I think she would do a good job. I'm not gonna, again, I still think that's what they're doing with these actors. I personally think they're just, especially Scarlett Johansson. I mean, maybe not Sebastian Stan so much. I don't think, like, even though the MCU is popular, I don't think he's like an actor that people jump to when they think MCU. But
yeah, I can see that.
But I don't know. Like I said, I have mixed feelings about this. Like I said, I mean, I think my big issue with Sebastian Stan as Two-Face in this movie is the second movie in this trilogy, because it's planned to be a trilogy, is Two-Face. And Matt Reeves has already said he wants to out Nolan. So it's like, you gotta make Two-Face the bad guy of the second movie again, and especially if Joker has a bigger role in it, it's like,
yeah,
really?
And I get it. Like, in a way, and this is what I said. This was the part I hated about the Batman, which was, we had just finally started tapping into Batman's kind of more fantastical villains, right? Like ones that aren't so realistic that Batman has to face. It gives them new challenges. And when I heard they were going to do a very grounded Batman, I was like, well, you just took this and you made it this of your options before it gets silly. Because Christopher Nolan fell into the same issue. He kept it so grounded that by the end of it, it was like, okay, well, Heath Ledger's gone, rest in peace. Who do I bring in? Let's do Bane. I'm gonna have to ground Bane a little bit more, and then it became the third movie is kind of the most whimsical of this big grounded trilogy, right? It almost doesn't fit, but he does it just well enough. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it doesn't. I think it didn't age as well as the other two did.
Yeah, I could see where you say that, and part of me also feels the same way about The Dark Knight. I think the film that ages the best is Batman Begins. I think that's the best comic book solo
agree.
Batman movie. The Dark Knight to me. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just like going through thought, but finish this thought now.
Oh yeah, I was just to me, The Dark Knight, the biggest issue I have with it that is never really addressed, and and I think it's more because we're so involved with the community of Batman fans that it just irritates us when people always say Batman doesn't kill, and they always refer to like Christian Bale being this shining example, because it was really his Batman that really coined this no guns, no killing, no killing anybody. That's people, I don't have to save you, but it's me not killing you. And it's like you realize Batman kills a crap ton of people he killed people in the second movie, he killed people in the third movie, and by technical law, he killed people in the first movie. So Christian Bale's Batman kills like so many people, and yet it just kind of holds to that place of like really? Like why and I also just have the issue with the ending with Harvey Dent in that, because like when Batman like tackles him, it just seems like a silly maneuver. Like Batman could have done that in any other way. But
I can see that point. I can totally see that point. And like I said, as much as I love the Nolan films, it's time to go beyond that. Like I totally agree with what you're saying, and that's why I'm kind of. And this is my concern with this movie, is that it feels with this news, it feels like they're trying to rehash Nolan too much, and we don't need that anymore. And I've always said, I'm not fighting for this movie's universe, but I'm not gonna go against it either, because I respect. On one hand, they took the Batfleck movie from us, right? They stole Ben Affleck's title, but on the other hand, there are fans of this movie.
Didn't really steal it. It was given. They decided they didn't want. Warner Brothers decided that they were going to push out Ben, and Ben just,
said no. I'm done.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
But yeah, like I said, in terms of like. To me, it sounds awful, but like when it comes to the ReevesVerse, if I have the ReevesVerse versus the Gunverse, I am far more excited for the ReevesVerse than I am for the Gunverse. Like I will at least take that, like, because as it stands right now, that's at least mediocre good DC stuff, and one is just I don't even want to talk about it.
But I will just say # release the super roast. But overall, though, I think we can both agree, not a bad casting, some concerns with this, and we just hope for the best, because it's still DC, and we want DC to succeed. Not just SnyderVerse, we want all DC to be good.
Yeah. Regardless of who's directing it. I've often said, even with the gun, like even with the controversy, I was just like, let's just see what he does here, and maybe he cooks. And we watched the trailers, and I was like, I kept saying like, it doesn't look like it's for me. It looks like it was made for Marvel fans, or gun fans even. And sure enough, when I watched it, guess what? I didn't enjoy it because, like I said, the tone was not for me. It didn't add anything to Superman. So if there's people out there who are just all up on that Superman movie, congratulations. I'm happy for you. You paid your theatrical ticket, and you're satisfied. To me, that was Superman for dummies, you know.
Yeah. But anyways, we hope the best for this universe.
Yes.
And now Netflix buying WB. So just to clarify for the chat, we are going to get into some, the whole Paramount thing and the Netflix back and forth. We will get into that, but this specific topic right here is not addressing that. Right now, the thought of Netflix buying Warner Brothers, being in the process of this, and what this could mean for Warner Brothers. I've talked about this on this channel a lot, but Trey, I don't think you even talked about this at all yet. So
no, yeah, Corey and I have not had a chance to talk about it yet on our live stream. I mean, look, the fact that Netflix, when everyone, the part that makes me laugh, shit. Corey, I thought we talked about this.
Go on, Trey. Just
anyways, I'll get on track. So Netflix, it's awesome to think that so many people, when we knew Warner Brothers was in major debt and they were going to be looking to sell, so many people wrote off Netflix as not even as an option. Like, oh, it's streaming. There's no way they have the money. They just wrote them off. And the fact that Netflix just kind of right,
go on.
The fact that Netflix just kind of bulldozed in and made a deal that it seemed like to me that Warner Brothers was just like, boom, we love it. Like that's the best deal. I think is incredible. And I think is a testament to the whole cell community with Sky, Leon, Good Austin, Necron, and everyone else who was like involved with it, and it's like so cool to see that in a weird case, like you and I, Batman, like I feel like you and I maybe came in, maybe not at the very beginning of the release the Snyder Cut movement, right?
I didn't. I definitely didn't, and sounds like you didn't either.
I think I was like a month behind. I heard through the grapevines that some people showed up on the Warner Brothers lot dressed up as Justice League, and they had this big banner called Release the Snyder Cut. And I think I found out about this either in January of 2018 or February 2018. So I was close. But after that, I did my research and I took time to figure out what was going on. And so I felt like it was a foot soldier in that, like kind of jumped in the middle and just was like following the path of that. Here, you and I, not only were we a part of not the very beginning, because obviously we weren't with Sky in those conversations and Leon, but like when Sky announced to the world on his channel about this whole idea, you and I and many others kind of jumped on board because it really was the last option, the last hope, if there was going to be a chance for this. And it seems such a far-fetched thing. It was kind of like wishful thinking almost. And the fact that, not a year, 2 years later, that like Netflix is now, how did you get the house back? I bought the bank. Well, I bought the studio. It's kind of crazy to think that Netflix has just presented this awesome deal, and that like the possibility of the SnyderVerse is much closer than we think. Yes, it's not official. Yes, it's not done. Yes, there's a possibility of other things happening. But the point is, and what you and I were discussing about, is that we always believe that the current relationship that Zack Snyder has with Netflix, the success he's had with Netflix, and what they're trying to achieve, Netflix can do it all. They have such a weird setup with their streaming business, and they can really bulldoze the cinema industry that they can kind of do whatever they want. They could have a multi-universe because there's a streaming audience, a big streaming audience that can keep their stuff alive. And now Netflix is going to be jumping into the theatrical thing, which there was a bit of that stigma, that hatred, that biasness from the cinema industry with the theater circuits who wanted nothing to do with Netflix. Now, I know this quite well because I'm a part of this section of the industry, of the theater business industry. I know there was hate for Netflix, but what happened was, and this was almost kind of the first like domino to fall, was COVID, right? COVID happened, and theaters were desperate for content, desperate. Well, who's not being stopped about cranking out content? Because Netflix, they didn't need theaters. Netflix, right? So when Netflix had some big movies come out, guess what some of the theaters did, like Cinemark? We don't want to close our theaters. We don't want to shut down completely. Like, we don't want to go out of business. Like, help us. What do you got? Well, we have one of Ryan Johnson's Knives Out mystery films coming out. Like, we'll put that out for a couple of weeks. Cool. It did so well in theaters. They were demanding it to keep in for another week, but Netflix, with their platform, they wanted it back, right? And then you had Army of the Dead, which also did pretty damn well at the time. So you just start to see Netflix doing really successful things in the theaters for small little stints that, we see now Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein and how well that's doing in theaters when it was out for a little bit. So, and the recognition that it's getting even through the critics on that. So I think it's the change the industry needs. I think I can understand why people are nervous about it in theaters. I do. But I truly think theaters is a quick way to get your money back. It's a quick way to find out, to know if people are interested in this IP or interested if a film is an instant success, right? So I truly think, even though Netflix has kind of talked about the 17-day theatrical release, I think, let's say if they had a movie like Avatar, which is cranked out, over $100 million the first weekend, another $90 million the second weekend, and then the third weekend it brings in 80 or $60 million. I don't see Netflix going like, let me put this back on our streaming service that people are already paying for, and we're the biggest dogs on top for that. I think they do what every studio does, which is keep it out there, keep it ranking money in for us, and then it will go on streaming eventually. I think what you're seeing now is Netflix is going to become the next big movie studio, theatrically and streaming, because they're not doing anything different what any other studio is doing. HBO Max is a streaming service for Warner Brothers. Paramount Plus is a streaming service for Paramount Pictures. Disney Plus is for Disney, and so on and so forth. So they all have their own streaming avenues. So nothing has changed. It's just the fact that it's Netflix who is the big first streaming service that freaks people out, which they need to stop. So I'm very excited by this buy. Kudos to Sky, to Leon, to Necron, to Good Austin for fighting the good fight, even when many people didn't think it was possible. And the fact that we're now here is insane to me. Like, it just, wow. I mean, it's one of those things we all hoped it would happen. I think very few people like truly knew it would happen or believed it happened. And I think, it's a really cool thing to know where it started, to know the people who started it, rather than kind of joining in the middle and just like following like a good little foot soldier, So yeah, I think it's awesome, dude. I know he said quick thoughts here, but there you go. That was my rant.
That's okay. You haven't, more quick for me because I've already said my thoughts on this, but you haven't said your thoughts. So I really appreciate what you said, though. I really did appreciate what you said, because you brought up a lot of great points. And I think for me, and like I said, I'm going to be quicker because I've already given my thoughts on this plenty of times, but I'm going to recap some stuff. So in terms of the SnyderVerse, people say it's not guaranteed. You're right. Nothing in life is guaranteed, though, right? No matter who gets Warner Brothers, nothing is guaranteed. But if I were to, the best possibility is Netflix, because they're the ones who have the working relationship with Zack Snyder. They do. Not Paramount, not Universal, not Disney, not Warner Brothers on its current regime. Netflix does. So they are our best bets. And, it's so funny you brought up the theater point, Trey. People are saying, theaters, oh my God, why can't Paramount get it? 'Cause that's better for theaters. I'm like, what remember Disney and Fox merged, or sorry, they're now 20th Century because Disney removed Fox from their branding,
Yeah.
but like Disney and 20th Century, they became one studio. You see less movies out of those, between those two, you see less movies now because
Yeah.
now it's all under one release schedule. The Simpsons movie took the place of it, the Simpsons movie 2 took the place of a Marvel film. Now, if they were under different release schedules, why would that matter? They're under the same release schedule. If Paramount and Warner Brothers become one studio under one umbrella, that's less movies. That's one less major movie studio out there. Whereas Netflix, all their theatrical business is limited. They don't have a major theatrical release right now. So
Yeah.
honestly, for theaters, Netflix is the best option right now, and they've already shown they're interested in theaters. I mean, I just did a whole stream about the Stranger Things with the Curly Ray, which they showed it in theaters.
And it made an insane amount of money for 2 days. For 2 days, and honestly, in a very limited theatrical release, because some theaters were still biased against Netflix. And even then, with all the like amount of theaters that were not a part of it, because I think there's over 3,500 theaters, and I think if I recall, the Stranger Things, I want to say it was less than 2,000. I might be wrong on that. But the fact that it made the amount of money that it did, imagine if all the theater circuits gave up their biasness towards Netflix and just did it. At one point, I don't know if you know this, Netflix was actually considering, before Warner Brothers Discovery, this was actually during COVID, they were going to buy theater circuits when they were starting to go out of business because they were being so like, we're not going to ever work with Netflix. Netflix was like, well, you guys are hurting, we're not. We might buy some of you guys and start showing our movies in those theaters that we bought. So this is, I think, in a way, it may have been a cheaper option, maybe even a more profitable option, rather than to buy out theater circuits, which some people think is a dying business. I disagree. I think it's still, people are wanting to see movies in a collective and on the biggest screen and most premium format possible. But when you have a studio like Netflix buy someone like Warner Brothers, it can only make things better, and there's been proof, like you were just talking about, how when some of the studios have taken over other studios and had the mergers like Disney, it actually hurt the theater business because not many movies were getting put out. And when they were putting out movies, some of them weren't even going to theaters. A great example of this was the movie Prey that Dan Trachtenberg did a couple of years ago. It was the Secret Predator movie that came out. It came out on Hulu. It was a huge, insane success on Hulu. People were demanding to see it in theaters. The biggest, complaint that people had was like, why was this movie not in theaters? We've seen every Predator movie in theaters, and they didn't do it. Disney didn't put it out there because they weren't sure. And sure enough, when they sold it a physical copy, it made a lot of money. And then look, now you got Predator Badlands. It gave them enough courage to release that movie in theaters, and it was the biggest Predator movie of all time. So, not including inflation. I know some of the original Predator fans are like, but it still says something. There's too much of a hatred and stigma against Netflix, and I just gave a point of a studio that people eat up their stuff in theaters, and you don't realize that they've actually done a couple of horrible things to the theater business as well. So everyone has their own little thing that it's just kind of bad. But Netflix buying Warner Brothers is not a bad thing. It honestly could give the industry what it needs to revitalize itself into the new era.
Well said, Trey. Well said. And as you see, I slightly changed this topic name. But still, though, and yeah, and I agree, Sid Havoc. And hey, again, if a movie's successful, Netflix can always change. So I just think people are just fear mongering. There's bias against Netflix, and I know someone brought up a woke comment. I'm like, I mean, I'm not saying that's not a valid concern because I don't like when politics gets mixed into the stuff, no matter which side of the coin it's on. But a lot of companies are going that direction, for being honest here. So Netflix is not special in that regard. So, I'll just say this: Netflix respects their creators. Zack Snyder, he doesn't preach his politics and his stuff. He does diversity without making it a big deal. So,
You know, one thing I've always said about Netflix, and because I know some people, there's a few shows I like that some people have like attacked recently for being woke. And I laugh at that because I'm not denying that there's such things that go overboard, that they try to make they don't do it for the story, they do it to reach a quota, of the DEI, the whole diversity thing that they try to do. And I won't lie when I say I'm a little bit not sensitive, but like it's one of those, like, if I realize he didn't do it for the story, it kind of bugs me, and I'll hold it against you. But to me, it's one of those, and I'm actually talking about, for instance, Camp Cretaceous in Chaos Theory, the Jurassic World animated TV series.
okay.
They had gotten mad. This show has been out for years, and it just seems like all of a sudden people were just trying to find ways to cancel Netflix. And they were like talking about these two characters that were lesbian. And it was like, well, first off, that's been out for years. Two, it's not like it came out of left field. Those characters started as friends, and it was a very slow progression to where even I, as an audience member who does care if something just feels like it comes out of nowhere just to hit a quote of, look, if our show is diverse and we have, we support LGBTQ, whatever, blah, blah, blah. To me, it was like, no, it made sense for those characters. They've gone through a lot of tragedy together. They've been through the shit, and they've developed a really strong friendship that it made sense when all of a sudden they started having feelings towards each other. I was like, what a brilliant way to tell that story. It did not bug me at all. So here's what I will say about Netflix. Netflix is an equal opportunity content creator. They don't care what your beliefs are. They will make every content possible. Example, Dave Chappelle. So I just talked about the left side of the views of Netflix creating content. Now we'll talk about, if you want to, the right side, even though I know Dave Chappelle would be like, what the hell, man? It's not really right. But Dave Chappelle and his transgender jokes. People wanted him canceled. People at Netflix who worked for them were like, if you put out his content and how he's doing these jokes against transgender, which comedy is comedy, they go after everybody. But like, Netflix was like, are you kidding me? No, we're not doing it. We just paid Dave Chappelle to do this comedy special for us. And guess what? It became one of the biggest comedy films of one of the biggest comedy shows of all time on Netflix. So you get both sides. You really do at Netflix. So I understand, and trust me, I'm there with you. It bugs me when stuff is done not for the purpose of the story, but I just feel like that's not quite Netflix. There's sometimes there's things that truly do. Guess what? You don't have to watch that content. You could watch something else. Netflix has a lot of content.
Yes. Thank you, Trey. Thank you. People get so upset over stuff, and it's like, just don't watch this shit. It's not that hard. I mean, I only watch.
Pause it and dislike it, so that type of content never comes up for you. There you go.
I mean, I don't completely get that with DCU, unfortunately, because I'm sure my dad, who thinks about my channel, will be like, you need to watch this for your channel. But aside from that, I can make a choice not to watch something. And even then, I'm just, that there's content creators in general don't always get that choice because you have to cover it all. But you as an audience member do get that choice. Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is a great thing. This will be, and I think, personally, it's a bit of a spoiler. I do think this will go through. I think with everything, even with some of this BS that's happening right now, but I don't want to say too much more because we'll spoil. And now we'll get into just Netflix expanding business, because I think this is a good way to kind of continue this discussion. And now I'm going to be honest, the football kind of depresses me right now because for those people who don't know, I'm actually a Packers fan living in the Chicago suburbs. So,
It's really rough for you then. Honestly,
mhm.
you being a Packers fan, I don't know why you even like moved to Chicago, bro. That was just a bad move right there.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Chicago as a Packers fan. That was hard in school, but hey, in school, I got to live with the Packers beating the Bears in the conference championship back in 2011.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was a
bring up
sophomore in
that,
high
huh?
school. So, I mean, even though I'm kind of suffering right now, I did get that joy years ago.
They
So,
both had
even if I,
opportunities to really ruin each other's days. You know?
and to be fair, it's not my fault that the referees were literally bribed by the Bears, for being honest here.
I can tell you, Chicago doesn't have enough money. No, man. In the NFL, kudos to them to really. I'm a baseball fan. I love Major League Baseball. That's my sport. I don't tend to really pay attention to much of the other sports. I pay attention to a little bit of hockey, um, but when it comes to football, I kind of stopped a little bit. To me, I just didn't care for it anymore. But what's amazing is as time has gone on, Major League Baseball has gotten a little less popular, right? A little less attending. But with the NFL, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think how they're doing that is they've been really smart about their um, their entertainment deals with Netflix, Amazon Prime, CBS, all those guys, Paramount Plus, sorry, even, or I think even Peacock has a little bit of a deal with them. So they're
Well,
literally
Paramount and
everywhere.
Peacock kind of
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with Paramount and Peacock, though, I mean, NFL was kind of already working with the companies that own those
True.
studios. I mean, if or NFL was, yeah, if I'm being technical, but you're right about like Paramount and Netflix,
Or
or
Amazon and
Prime and
Netflix.
Netflix. Sorry,
Yeah.
and
So sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
but yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like because like for those people who don't know, Christmas Day, I did all my Christmas stuff with my family early. So Christmas Day, I was just hanging out in my condo. I watched the two football games on Netflix. I know there were three games,
Mhm.
but I watched the two that were on Netflix.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, I guess finish your thoughts on that, and then I want to know what's your thoughts on Netflix getting the NFL, the football games for Christmas, because that's a 3-year
Oh,
deal. This was year two, and then year three they did another. It
gotcha.
happens again where they get
I
Christmas games.
I mean, I heard about the big halftime shows they did. I didn't get to see them because Christmas Day I spend with the family and we don't watch football. Um, but I heard it was a huge success, so I'm glad to hear that. And it's
It
very
was great.
cool. I think it was a big deal for Netflix when they wanted to get into the sports entertainment, and the fact that they did that starting with signing the WWE Raw. I think that was huge because that was kind of their first attempt at doing live shows. And then they got some of the boxing fights with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson and all that. So they've made some huge strides to provide live content, live media. So the fact that now they're getting into this sports arena with the football and apparently Major League Baseball, which is intriguing, is only going to make Netflix is just ahead of the game right now, and they have the money to be ahead of the game. And I think the part that freaks a lot of people out, and some of the people who are doubters about Netflix, is it doesn't seem like they're really batting an eye. There's no wince. If you're coming at them, they don't flinch because they have that much money. They can go like, yeah, we're about to buy a studio, and also we just signed a deal with NFL, and we're doing Major League Baseball, and we're gonna add this content, that content, blah blah blah. They're just like taking over, and I think that just goes to show how much of a powerhouse they are. That their business is just it's set up to last a long time. You know,
Exactly. They're expanding their business, and that's what I really like. Is
yeah.
that I mean, again, like because like I know you don't watch football on Christmas, but there's a lot of families who do watch football on Christmas,
Yeah.
and it's just something that families can do together. And the Christmas games were big. And I mean, I did see that halftime show, and it was a really great halftime show. I really enjoyed it. And I love that they put Christmas music in there since it was on Christmas Day. So I definitely expect to see Christmas music on there. But, and for me, like I said, like for me, I did all my Christmas stuff with my family the 23rd and the 24th. So 25th was just, by myself, but it added like a little festivity to that day. And I think it was just it was just really fun watching the NFL on Netflix. Seeing it, it was like, for me, I had really good reception. The only thing that happened is like when the game switched, I think it was supposed to be on one live stream. I had to like back out and go in again before the second game started. And like when I say the game started, I mean coverage for the second game. Like, because they do the pre-show. So like before the pre-show, I had to go in and start that again. But it was really great. And Netflix was doing a lot of cool marketing. They were doing a lot of like net football ads with the Stranger Things cast. So they were advertising both their things that day, which was the 2 NFL games and Stranger Things. And I'm really glad, Trey, they brought up like the sports, because the other sports, because it just shows that because people have different interests. Like me, I don't care about WWE, to be honest. Like I'm not into that. But I say to people who do like it, that's great for you. I'm glad for you. And I'm glad Netflix is doing that, though, because they're expanding the different areas of business. That's what I'm really glad that Corey said this comment, because people blame Netflix for Blockbuster's closing, and it's Blockbuster should have adapted. In fact, I don't know how true this is, but I heard a rumor that Blockbuster had the chance before because Netflix wasn't a big company then.
They did, yeah.
And they turned it down.
Mm-hmm. No, that's 100% true. They thought Netflix was like gonna be a quick and done business. They didn't think streaming was gonna be all that. So,
Which they regret that now, but I mean, and not to tease them, because I know a lot of people lost their jobs, which is always sad, but still, I mean, it shows that, you got to be quick to adapt, though, and that's just the hard world of business. Netflix is adapting. They know what people like, and I think also it helps these games out, too, because a lot of people don't have cable anymore. A lot of people just have streaming services. So if you can see this game on streaming, it's great. Like, I mean, you might just be like, hey, I'm on Netflix right now. Oh, there's a football game, there's a baseball game, there's a basketball game. Let's check this out. Yeah. It's really great. And they had and in my opinion, I think their halftime show was better than some of the Super Bowl halftime shows recently. It was a really good halftime show.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised you haven't seen the halftime show. Like, I know you don't watch football, but
I
think
did
it's on
hear
YouTube
about
now.
one. I did pay attention to Andrea Bocelli, who is like one of my favorite artists of all time. I think he's just like one of the most talented guys ever. I did watch a little bit of his halftime show for Christmas, and I mean, you're absolutely right, and I think that just goes to show, like, Netflix also has the money to put on these big productions for the halftime show, to the point where all it can do is, like, Netflix has such a competitive edge and like prestigious view, and I get what they're trying to do. They might be spending more money than they really want to. But what they're doing is, because of they're putting on these big productions during halftime show, well, guess what the Super Bowl is going to have to do? The Super Bowl is going to have to make their halftime show even bigger. So it's only going to, it raises the bar for all entertainment, which is awesome, man. That's what it should do. Your entertainment shouldn't stay flat. You should get something out of it,
I'm really glad you said that, because that's why I always say, like, DC fans should want Marvel to succeed and Marvel fans should want DC to succeed, because competition breeds success. So I'm really hoping that this will make I don't even know which channel's hosting the Super Bowl this year. It changes every year, but
I have no idea.
I just hope whoever does. I'll find out when we get closer to streaming or closer to the game, but it just shows how far Netflix has come. And then the Netflix houses too, which is, it's funny because people keep saying that. Anyway, let's move on. To the Netflix houses right now. But
do you not hold on? Do you not know who Andrea Bocelli is? It's okay if you don't, because it's a different type of music genre for sure.
I do not know who Andrea Bocelli is.
Okay, well, do me a favor for not, obviously sometime on your own time, Look up Andrea Bocelli. He's an opera singer, but he's an opera singer that has a bit of a pop flair to some of his themes. And he's easily, for a musician, you would appreciate how talented of a musician he is with his voice. And here's something crazy. He's blind and he can play the piano, and he's insanely talented. He's just brilliant artist. And his son Matteo is might be even a better musician and singer than him maybe one day. Who knows? We'll see. Look him up though.
Okay, I'll check him out. I will. But anyways, now I know. Yep, Sin Havoc. I know. But it's so funny. People view Netflix as, oh, they just want people to stay at homes. They don't want theaters. They want people to stay at home. I'm like, Dallas and Philadelphia would both disagree with you. You got these like amazing things, and these are at malls, mind you. These are both at mall locations, and it's just basically like an amazing setup where you have like all these sets from these different Netflix productions. You have Sandbox VR on some of these. You can order food. There's merchandise, mini golf. There's so many cool things at this, and it's a cool thing that Netflix is doing to like have an interactive experience with their IP, with the IP that they own. I guess, Trey, have you seen any pictures of these Netflix houses or?
I've heard a little bit about it. I think they open one in Vegas and I think in Texas somewhere.
So the two that are open right now are in Philadelphia, and Dallas. I think Vegas is the third. I think Vegas is the one that they're opening, but it's not open yet. I'm
okay.
Not
or is it
sure
a restaurant that they had in Vegas? I can't recall. They had something.
Vegas,
but I know they've done some big things in Vegas. Obviously, with like the Army of the Dead VR game they had, and you actually did something like that too. I think at one point.
Yes, when I was in LA, Sky and Floyd Lawton, which is the name of one of our friends, is he. But But anyways, yeah, we did Army of the Dead, and I actually had an injury when I playing Sandbox VR for Rebel Moon. Basically, what happened is I was, virtual reality. I was leaning on a crate to get a better shot, but you can see the issue with that, right?
I can imagine.
So I fell over completely. In fact, let me.
Who does the grunt?
I don't like pain. Like I get very make noise about when I fall into pain. But hey, and you know what? I got a higher score than Floyd did. Not Sky, because Sky's a real combat veteran, but still though, it just shows that Netflix is they're really expanding their business. Now let me see if I can show Trey something. Let's see what Netflix has, if there's a really good.
Apparently, I chose the right shirt for our Netflix talk too. I didn't even realize I got my Jimmy on.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure I represent Netflix and Batman.
Thank you. Love it.
But I'm trying to be careful about like how many images I show, just because I don't know what's copyright and what's not. But it just looks. I'm trying to. But basically, it's a really cool experience, Trey. Like, there's like, if you look at like the 360 view, there's like an aerial drone view for the Philadelphia one, and it looks really cool. Like, there's restaurants, mini golf, and different sets. Like, some of the attractions are free, some of them obviously you pay for. But it's just the thought, Trey, of just the fact that Netflix is giving you an experience where you actually have to go out and do these activities out, not in your home, to interact with these IPs. Like, just what's your thought on that?
Well, I mean, to me, you're only proving the point of Netflix is not bad for theatrical business. If they're already creating things for out of theater or out of home experiences, OOH, which is an advertising term for different types of businesses, and to have Netflix have these Netflix houses that really just showcases their IP and creates an experience for maybe for families, for date night. It just means Netflix. It's kind of like Amazon, right? Like Amazon became the king of shipping and deliveries and on product sales and things like that, and online sales. And all of a sudden, they jumped into the streaming TV realm, and everyone was like, "Why the hell is Amazon doing that?" They had enough money to go out and like make their business expand to be now entertainment. So here you get Netflix that has really focused on being the king of entertainment by doing all the streaming, by now getting into the video game realm, or the online games that you can do, the app games. And with the Rebel Moon Bloodlines that they've even started doing, and many others, like they even did Squid Games, a different game that could do that. So they're doing everything possible, to the point where they're just going to be a business that thrives. And I think creating these experiences, especially when you have some of these mega IPs like Stranger Things, like Rebel Moon, and many Squid Games and things like that, that people are invested to go out and like experience that, like you did with the virtual reality. So it's only going to benefit them in the long run. It's always going to make their brand, their IP stronger. And I think that's what's so cool about it.
Absolutely, Trey. Absolutely. And I mean, I'm planning vacations right now, but at one point I would like to fly out to either Philadelphia or Dallas to check out the. Let me, I'm just gonna Google this real quick. Netflix house locations, just to verify. So
Yeah, I'd be curious.
open in Philadelphia and Texas. Philadelphia and Dallas are the two. So
Do we know if
and then,
Josh or Necron has attended any of those?
I think Josh is planning on doing it. And Trey,
Yeah.
by the way, Las Vegas 2027.
27. Okay.
So you were right.
We must have
But
a
yeah, I think
restaurant
Josh
thing,
is
because I
planning.
heard people were already tending something in Vegas. It must be a restaurant that they have that is doing like different Netflix themed foods and drinks and stuff like that.
Vegas has so much stuff. It could just be a restaurant even doing Netflix for a night, for all we know. There's so much stuff going on in Vegas.
Yeah.
Can't keep track of it all, but it just shows Netflix is really expanding. They're a growing business. Like if there's any company that I would want to own DC, it's Netflix.
I mean, in my opinion, in terms of we were kind of talking about this with, or are we getting close to our Paramount versus Netflix whole thing?
That's actually spoiler. That's next.
Oh, cool. So I'll save my comment for what we're about to get into. But yeah, there's something to be said about how Netflix is approaching this whole deal in the entertainment industry. So I mean, yeah, it's exciting stuff, I think.
And now I will just move on because I'm just going to share this. Streamer has so many buttons. I always click the wrong thing sometimes. So here we go. So Paramount Skydance sues Warner Brothers Discovery seeking financial details of Netflix deal. So David Ellison's Paramount on Skydance sued Warner Brothers Discovery seeking to force WBD to disclose financial details of its $83 billion deal. And then they're trying to nominate a slate of directors. Paramount's trying to do that. They're hoping to do that. And then they're saying WBD has failed to include any disclosure about how it valued the global network stub equity, how it valued the overall Netflix transaction, how the purchase price reduction for the debt works for Netflix transaction, or even the basis for its risk adjustment of our $30 per cash share, all cash offer. Paramount chair, CEO David Ellison wrote, and then I think, Warner Brothers Discovery said the lawsuit was meritless and pointed out that Paramount has yet to raise the price of its acquisition. So basically, just a quick recap, Netflix didn't buy all of Warner Brothers Discovery. It is, Warner Brothers is planning to split the streaming and studio and Discovery Global Networks. Netflix their deal is just for the streaming and studio. So it's Warner Brothers, the movies, the DC, HBO Max.
The entertainment aspect rather than the news stuff.
Exactly. Whereas CNN, the cable network. So basically, I think from my understanding, like with Cartoon Network, for example, Netflix would get the shows, but Discovery Global would actually get like the network. Kind of like when Disney bought most of Fox. They bought the production companies of Fox, so they owned The Simpsons, Family Guy, but they didn't own the Fox channel. So it's kind of, from my understanding, like that. But whereas Paramount, they're trying to buy all of Warner Brothers. So that's why, even though like Net's value was $28 per share, the thing is $28 for part of the company, whereas Discovery is buying $30 for all of the company. So point is, while Discovery is technically offering more money, it's not necessarily a better value. And it's, yeah, no, I mean, I kind of agree, Sin. It's like he's acting like a jealous girlfriend, in my opinion, or jealous guy who's trying to approach the girl. But go on, Trey.
It's a bit of a sore loser approach for sure. And like, don't get me wrong, like I get it. Like Paramount, it really shows how much they want Warner Brothers IP. I can't blame them. But really, like, it's a last ditch effort to piss off Warner Brothers Discovery stockholders, because the truth is, Warner Brothers doesn't, just because you throw down a deal, and this is with any person or studio or brand company, blah blah blah. They don't have to sell to you just because you could throw down the best deal possible, but their friend might work for this company who put down a deal as well, and they just might value it a little bit better. Now they do have to disclose all that information to their stockholders. So the fact that the Paramount CEO is going through this process of a lawsuit, he's just trying to like piss them off, and he's clearly pissed. But in my opinion, it was kind of the nail in the coffin, because all he just did is, like, Warner Brothers Discovery is not going to want to work with you now. They're not going to want to do anything with you after this. You're suing them. You're going to make them go through this legal trouble for no reason of information they already disclosed to their own stockholders that they believe Netflix to be the better deal for them in the long run. So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money, and you're just doing it to piss people off. And for the few stockholders who are going to get pissed off because, oh, look at this, it says I will get a better share, but Warner Brothers is also looking down the road. Okay, you might get immediate quick return, but we're looking long term, so it's a silly lawsuit. It's really just for the flash and the whole thing with it. And I get it for the standpoint of it there. It's still, this whole Warner Brothers Netflix deal is still pending in a regulatory approval. It still has to get, reviewed by the government. And we know how that discussion has been, kind of hinting at. I don't think it'll mess with anything, but nonetheless, the Warner Brothers Discovery board has continued to show that they want the Netflix deal. They're hell-bent on it. And I think that's the important thing. It's funny that Warner Brothers Discovery is also kind of playing this game of, like, keep offering us more money, Paramount. And we already know Paramount's not going to, if Paramount's suing, Paramount can't offer any more money. So Warner Brothers is being a bit of a dick in terms of, like, hey, Netflix, look how much Paramount wants us. Do you want to raise your prices? Which could be the reason why they're talking about the cash deal now.
Hold off too much on that. That would be nice.
That's all I'll say about it. But it's just, it's a bunch of business talk. This is what happens in a sale. You hear people want, demand. Who's going to pay more? It's all flash right now. Netflix has the deal. They're negotiating it further to, solidify a deal. So it's Netflix's, it's in their court right now. Paramount's just doing a bunch of silly BS. Yeah.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you. I'm really glad you said this, because you said something that's really crucial. You said Discovery, like Warner Brothers Discovery, won't want to work with you, because I had a prediction, Trey. I predicted that what Paramount was going to get out of this. You know how I said that Netflix is only buying Warner Brothers, like, streaming in studios, like that part of the entertainment part.
Yeah.
I actually had a prediction that Paramount would just be like, you know what? Let's just buy Discovery Global. Netflix doesn't want it. And they kind of acted like they care about CNN the most anyways, which would actually be included in that portion. And I thought that might be a good way to not look like a total loser. Be like, you could be like, hey, this is really what we wanted. This is all negotiation tactic to try to make it seem like it was valued less. But now you sued them. So now, whereas the shareholders might have been like, well, maybe, that might not be a good deal. They're not going to want to do that now because it's like you said, Trey, you got to think long term here, because if you're going to work for this company, you want to make more money long term, not just immediate value. But also, here's another point. Paramount had to take out a lot of loans for this deal to work. Like, this is like Netflix has the money. They can give you now. Here's another question for you, Trey. Let's say you have two deals. One deal that's, I'm just making up numbers here. I'm not saying these numbers equate. Well, we'll just say $28 million from one company who's guaranteed, they're almost guaranteed to pay you. And another company for $30 million who's maybe, let's say, 15 to 20% guaranteed to actually pay you. Or 28 million, 38 million, and 38 million. Which deal are you going to take?
The guaranteed one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they're both good amounts of money.
Yeah, well, I mean, and another thing to kind of think about, it's a similar situation. And here's where David Zaslav kind of becomes interesting, right? He's had recent experience of merging with a company that was in trouble that he thought he could turn around. Right? He was all out of me. I'm gonna trailblaze this thing in here, and I'm gonna make Warner Brothers profitable again. It's gonna be amazing. He made it worse, right? Like it went more in debt. Mm-hmm. He grossly underestimated the shithole that Warner Brothers was at the time,
and he made it worse, honestly.
Yeah.
By hiring James
Now,
Gunn.
there were some things he did good. There were some elements that he brought into, with like Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, who clearly had and the funniest part, right? When David Zaslav got out of their way and they were able to do some of the things on their own, they were able to tap into things that like Sinners, which didn't cost them a lot of money to make, but it made an insane amount of money. And not only that, it's going to be announced for Academy Awards and things like that. There was I think Minecraft was another one where it didn't take them a lot to make so much money. Weapons was another big Warner Brothers film that no one expected to do well, but it did well, and that was all Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca who were tapping into those themes. So in a way, if he would have listened to the right people, he may have achieved what he was hoping to do. But all in all, he has experience of merging with a company. Paramount's not doing that great either. They're not making that much money. And honestly, what we've seen them do, I think they said for this year, for 2025, for last year technically, for 2025, Paramount was losers in the box office. They didn't do well. So Netflix, on the other hand, doing extremely well. They're still pumping out content. Now, granted, Netflix hasn't had a real indicator of like what's successful, what's not successful in terms in terms of like theatrical box office. Like we can't really gauge in terms of streaming numbers. We can kind of get an idea of what's successful, but you don't really see the individual money return for streaming. That's kind of the interesting part of streaming, is like you don't know if people are subscribing to Netflix to watch this specific thing, because chances are especially with Netflix, who has the most subscribers out of everyone, they are people continuing to be on their page because they like the content that they're getting, or blah blah blah. It's a bit of a harder indicator to figure out people wanted to see this thing, right? Other than they can see viewership stuff. But in terms of the subscription cost, where they get their money, right? And now some of the ads that they're starting to get their money from. With movies, theatrical, you see an immediate return on your film. So it'll be interesting to see how that's incorporated into this. But it's, once again, Warner Brothers is probably laughing at Paramount at this point because Paramount just showed weakness in a way. Like this was seriously a frustrated kid who got pissed off that you didn't pick him for his basketball team, and now he's going to make you suffer, by sticking gum in your shoe. It's not going to slow the train down. The only thing that's going to stop this really at this moment is if the government does get involved, which I hope it doesn't. Yes, people can still make some weird deals. I've heard a lot of people who have worked with Warner Brothers who used to be like in the ELT members. I know a few of those guys who have said some interesting things that I don't know. To me, a lot of people just say, just wait and see. We're not there yet. Like a lot of things can happen in the next couple of months to this year. So I think the important thing is that it seems to me that Warner Brothers Discovery has a clear excitement to joining Netflix rather than someone like Paramount. So that takes away that studio.
Exactly, Trey. Exactly. It's like it's long term. It's not short term. And Paramount, again, they haven't been making a lot of great decisions. Like let's be honest, Paramount Plus, their streaming app is terrible. They have good content, but for crying out loud, I can't watch a show without it crashing. It's ridiculous. Like I have trouble selecting the show I want to watch because every time I try their interface is slow as shit. Like, I mean, I'm literally trying to scroll and it takes so long just to do that. And it's little things like that. You can't manage your streaming business already. You can't, it's just, I agree. It's like, to me, basically what happened is David Ellison, he's not used to not getting what he wants. And I think what really pisses me off about this, Hammond kind of said it earlier, there's a certain point, like I get it. You want Warner Brothers because you think it will do well for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting it, that's a loss. But if you keep trying to push, you're going to lose more than that. Because instead of focusing on what you have, there's a certain point where it's like you're focusing on what you don't have instead of what you have. And that's not good for business. Yeah, businesses should acquire new businesses. There's a certain degree of that you need to do. Absolutely. But my issue with this is they've been told no once. Look, one hostile takeover attempt, fine. 2, fine. 3, that's when you're pushing it. Like I say, once you're on your 3rd time and you're told no, move on. Because if let's just say Trey, they take out all these loans and they manage to succeed in acquiring Warner Brothers. Now you have to pay all those back. Now you can't do certain things with the IP that you just bought. So was it really worth it? That's the thing too. Whereas if Netflix, they will be able to do stuff with their IP right when it closes. Right when the deal closes, they'll be able to do stuff. Whereas Paramount, not so much. So, and something funny, Trey, I said that, if Paramount really makes a deal that's better than Netflix offer, guess what? Netflix can amend their offer to something that is better. So, as you can see right now, so let me just bring this back up again. Netflix is prepping all-cash bid for Warner Brothers and HBO Max amid Paramount Skydance pressure report. So basically, Netflix is readying a revised offer in all cash to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery streaming and studios business, according to a report by the Wall Street Journal. Under the terms of Netflix's original agreement, each Warner Brothers Discovery shareholder would receive $23.25 in cash and $450 worth of shares of Netflix common stock for each share of WBD common stock, outstanding at the closing of the transaction. With those parameters, the deal has an enterprise value of $83.2 billion. So now Netflix is prepared to switch to an all-cash offer, according to the Journal, which cited anonymous sources. A Netflix rep declined to comment. A WBD spokesperson referred to inquiries to Netflix. Netflix reported changing up the deal terms with Paramount Skydance. So basically with what they're trying to do. So, they talk about the lawsuit, but, I think this is more speculation, honestly. I mean, it could be true, but here's the thing. If shareholders want an all-cash offer, this would be a better deal. They're like, Netflix would be like, you want an all-cash offer? Fine, we'll give you an all-cash offer. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think Netflix would make a deal if Netflix is changing the deal at this point, they're trying to do it more in Warner Brothers' favor, not less. Personally, I think some stock is better because, again, it's long-term investment. Because if it's all cash offer, realistically, the company succeed or failure doesn't matter. But I personally do think stock's a little bit better. But if this is what they're preparing to do, so be it. If they think that's the better offer. But it's what I said. Netflix can change their deal if Paramount really does offer something better. So, and again, they're preparing to do it. Preparing to do it doesn't mean they are doing it. They're just preparing for. If let's say they're thinking Paramount might want that Warner Brothers might want to go with Paramount, they're prepared to be like, okay, fine. This is what we're going to give you then. If you really want an all cash offer, this is what we're going to give you. But there's no. It's not. They're not saying they are doing it. They're preparing to do it, preparing for all possibilities. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. I guess, Trey, what's your thoughts?
No, I think you're spot on. I think there's. This is the thing: is Netflix they're the ones that are having exclusive conversations with Warner Brothers Discovery about taking over their entertainment IP. So a lot of things could change with their deal, but I think the most important thing is it just seems like Warner Brothers is wanting Netflix. It's kind of become clear. Like, you're not hearing Prime, Amazon, you're not hearing Peacock make any moves, and I think it's because it became kind of clear. And maybe it could be like you might hear another company come out of nowhere and just like drop this mega deal because they're just waiting to hear what Netflix wants the best deal that Netflix is going to offer, and then they're going to jump in and offer something crazier. But it doesn't seem like Netflix is freaking out. They're not panicking. They're not like, whoa, slow it down there, Warner Brothers. They hear the deal, the second deal that Paramount tried to bulldoze and be like, this is amazing. We're going to do cash even. And even still, Warner Brothers Discovery was like, no. And Netflix was like, well, we can do that too. You want cash? Okay. So to me, it just seems like Netflix is really, they're coming at this with a lot of confidence. I don't hear from people I know, and I don't get the sense that there's a lot of doubt in their mind, or even an inkling of doubt that this is not going to go down. It sounds like Netflix is definitely going to just lock this in, and it will be done sometime this year.
I agree totally. I totally agree. I think we'll hear about the deal. Yeah, it will have to, they'll have to go through all these regulations, but
yeah,
Disney and Fox was actually here's the thing with Disney bought, not only was a theatrical studio being merged, but Disney also gained controlling share of Hulu. So you also had streaming services falling under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Netflix, yeah, you hear two streaming services fall under one umbrella, but not two theatrical studios falling under one umbrella. At the end of the day, I agree. This is just Netflix being prepared to do what they need to do. But I'm going to say this. If some other company snipes Netflix, it's not going to be Paramount. I like, at this point,
it seems doubtful. Yeah.
If Paramount had the money to really buy Warner Brothers, they wouldn't be suing. They would just say, done. But even if they have the money and or what Warner Brothers actually wants, because again, it's not just money. It's will you actually be able to pay it? Will you bring us into success after the money? Paramount doesn't have it. They know they don't have that. Netflix does have that. So Netflix, again, I think Netflix is even mocking Paramount a little bit. They're like, oh, haha, you're offering all cash? Okay, fine. We'll do that too. We'll do that too. So it's just, at the end of the day, this is just noise. And I do think the trade's kind of a bit of a bias against Netflix. I do think personally that they downplay Netflix and upplay these others. Other than and like anyone in like that network, I don't see Variety covering Netflix before it happened. I don't see even the articles I'm sharing.
Yeah. Well, here's kind of the funny part is like you want to know how like powerful Netflix is. The fact that like yes, there is biasness. There's a clear biasness. There's a few directors out there who are very vocal about their support for the theatrical experience. And I think every actor and performer and director really wants their content really to be in the theaters in the first place. And I agree. I don't think anyone is disputing that the best way to experience a movie is in the theaters on the biggest screen with the best audio, with a bag of popcorn, and with people who are going to, you know, share that experience with you. I mean, how many people like when we went to go see like Top Gun Maverick when the theaters were shut down because of COVID, and people who went to go see Top Gun Maverick, I can't remember the last, well, other than Avengers Endgame. But Top Gun Maverick, it felt like even more powerful because people were tired of being locked indoors all day. And they saw this movie that was super like pro, just like good feels, pro America, blah, 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 all that stuff. And people were clapping, chapping. It was a loud theater. And I remember thinking, like, wow, this is like a cool experience. To the point where like you watch it at home, and not everyone has a home theater system, to enjoy things. It's nice, it's comfortable, but in terms of getting that oomph, like you don't really get it. There's some movies that just deserve to be seen in theaters. Rebel Moon was one of them, and I think because some of that biasness, some of that stigma towards Netflix, that it wasn't released all over theaters. It was just Chicago, LA, and New York, I think, and maybe Texas.
There were a lot of there. I mean, it was a list of, but they were like the major cities, like
Yeah.
Like to clarify, I don't live in the city. I live in the suburbs. I actually had to go to the city to see Rebel Moon, and it was one for each part. It was one night. It wasn't like I could go whenever I wanted. No,
it was an entire weekend,
off
release.
Work.
Yeah.
I took time off work to see it because I had to make sure I got to the showing in time. So I had to take off the afternoon of work. So
yeah. So, and that's where I just feel like you can tell, like, I mean, Christopher Nolan is always going to be, theater, because that's just his shtick now. He goes to CinemaCon almost every year talking about the importance of the theater going experience. But you start to hear, I noticed at some of the awards ceremony where they were talking about the theatrical experience, and people were asking questions on the red carpet, like, well, what do you think about the Netflix deal? And it's funny because, the person just wants to be like, I support the theatrical experience, like I want, but everyone's starting to play nice about it. They're starting to be politically correct. Like, who knows what's going to happen? I always want people to see in the theaters, but, we'll see when we get there. If this didn't sound like it was going to happen, people would be like, there's no way we're going to let Netflix do this. There's no way we're going to stop Netflix from doing this. And there are some who are doing it. But when you start to hear people who are winning awards and they're getting asked these questions and they're starting to play the politically correct game because they realize they might have to work with Netflix one day, Netflix is walking around with some big balls. They're pardon me for my French, they're the big dick on campus. So don't mess with them
already. So
did I? My bad.
No, I did.
Oh, you did. Whew. Okay. Usually I try to be careful with that, but no, I'm okay. Cool. If you said it, good.
In fact, there was one time I was doing it on my watch party on Christmas, Bloody Christmas with Zodwriter. I was like saying it in every sentence just to mock the movie's dialogue because the movie was dropping the F-bomb all the time. So I was doing it constantly on that stream just as a joke to make fun of the movie. But yeah, Trey, you're absolutely right, though. You're completely right. The fact is, that's a really valid point. People are talking about it. Like, people are not, they're being politically correct because celebrities know more than we do. Yeah. So if they're playing nice, things are happening.
It sounds like it's moving in one direction. It sounds like this thing's going to happen, and there's no stopping this train. So.
But I think, Trey and I think with the Netflix portion, we can agree. Netflix is going to get Warner Brothers. Now.
Yeah, I feel good about it. I mean, don't you? Like, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, I'll be fair and say I'm like at a 95, 98% confidence, just leaving that open that someone could just jump in and do something wild, but it's it's pretty much done.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly, Trey. Exactly. But this leads to question: will we get the SnyderVerse? Will we get, will Ben Affleck want to be Batman again? Well, it's really funny because I don't know if you heard about this, Trey, but Kevin Smith was recently at the Artist Equity set.
Yeah.
And let me just share my screen real quick. But Kevin Smith reveals movie statues outside of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's office. So Kevin Smith gives a look inside Artist Equity, where Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon quietly lives on in the hallway. Or, man, I can't talk right now. Sorry. Shared history quietly lives in the hallway. So, is this actually on here? Or the image on here? But the article's on here. This is. Sorry, sometimes
I don't
try
know
to
if you have Instagram
scroll
pulled
up.
up, but you probably could find it on his Instagram page where he's actually, that clip.
Oh, the Instagram credit Instagram even. So,
which that's
Kevin
actually
Smith's
funny.
Instagram page.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, just being
Go
a
on,
bit of
talk for a little bit. I'm gonna.
just being a bit of a nerd. When I saw that video, I immediately got excited because I already knew Ben Affleck had the Batfleck suit, because people have talked about like how they've gone into Artist Equity and they see his Batman v Superman suit. And I think that's like the dopest thing in the world. I mean, I want to have that one day just in my corner of my office or something. But it just goes to show, like, Ben loved that. So many people try to talk about how much he hated the role. He didn't hate the role. He hated the atmosphere and the just the aura that Warner Brothers put out when they had some really toxic people running it. He didn't like it then. When Zack was running it, he was a happy camper. Hence why he immediately came back when Zack gave the phone call and said, dude, we're doing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 or 1. Yeah. And then, came back for the Flash.
Photography specifically.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And speaking of the Flash, because
outside of Artist Equity, Ben Matt's company, and I just want to show you.
Restart this since you missed.
So this is the Artist Equity, the hallway outside of Artist Equity, Ben Matt's company, and I just want to show you something really adorable in it. So here you've got Batman, and then over here you've got the Martian. Like, their outfits stand across from one another. Come on, isn't that fucking adorable? Bromance.
And
I mean,
basically, exactly, and that's the Flash version of the suit. That was the suit from the Flash movie, and if Ben Affleck really, because it has the plates, like those tachyon plates, because I think from my understanding, it's like that was cut in the original ending before Gunny Poo stepped in and changed the ending and put George Clooney in there. But I think that because like the suit we saw in the movie was blue. But like you see,
okay, I was gonna ask you that, because as a nerd, when I saw the suit, I was like, "That's a black and gray version." I was like, "That's not." So either they changed it in post editing to have more of a blue tint to it, or like that's what the or maybe that was another suit, or Ben, because I have heard Ben do this before. There was a time, I think, for his son's birthday party, his son wanted him to dress up as Batman. And he asked the studios, like, "Hey, can I have the suit?" And they're like, "Sure, but it's going to cost you like $250,000." And he was like, "Can I just borrow it for a day?" And so they let him do it. But I remember him saying that he didn't keep the suit because of that. That he at least kept a batarang. So I wonder if he just had like a replica. Bought that. In this case, he just likes maybe the gray and black look better than the gray and blue. I don't know. It's just me being like overly like geeky of like, wait, hold on, that's not the same suit,
Yeah, because actually, hold on for a second. Gotta
do. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting theme. I just love. I don't know if you guys have seen the Martian movie with Matt Damon, but I think it's one of Ridley Scott's best movies. It's brilliant. So the fact that you have not, oh, bro, you should. A great movie. Oh, what do you got here?
So I showed this off before, but this says the Flash on it. I don't know if you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't see
Nope,
So
I can
this
see it. Yep.
is
With
this is the
bat
Batfleck suit, which with the Batbike, and yep, the suit is blue, so that's why I wanted to show that off again real quick to remind. But yeah, it is blue, but really, oh stop, Corey, stop, come on, Corey, man, like Corey is. Trey said I was gonna have to deal with this in the chat, man. Trey is hashtag Trey is a liar.
I can't control him. I can't control him on my show. He's a little upset with me right now, anyways. So.
Oh, but anyways, though, regardless of like what the suit actually is, here's the thing: if Ben Affleck hated the the Batman role so much, why do you have it on display? I mean, do you think George? I guess do you think George Clooney would put his Batman suit on display?
Absolutely, the bat nips are iconic. It makes for a wonderful period.
But you get my point, though. If like the role was like really like the role itself really depressed him and drained the energy out of him, and just the role itself, not the atmosphere, just the role of Batman. Why is he putting it on display in his artist equity museum? Why is in his art equity office? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing? If he hates the role so much, why is he doing that? And yes, that was McFarlane. Sin Havoc, don't encourage him. And I love you, Corey, but Sin Havoc, stop encouraging him. But anyway, Trey, your thoughts on just the fact that he has the Batfleck suit in his office?
I think it's the dopest thing in the world, and is a complete like badass thing to do before someone meets you. I hope when people open his door and see him at his office chair on his desk, that he's just like, you know. No, honestly, I think it's just cool. Just being a nerd, and his specifically his Batman v Superman suit is still my all-time favorite Batman suit, you know, and I just think it's cool. And I think if he, like you said, Batman, if he really did hate his experience or hate the character or not want to be anything a part of it, I don't think he would keep those memories around, you know. It's clear that he loves the character. I mean, even in his most recent conversation, and I get it, like Ben is one of those people that constantly wants to look at the future. He doesn't want to talk about the past, blah, blah, blah. I remember it really irritated him in a very toxic time. It was right before Justice League. And people were asking him during his Live by Night movie about like, well, hey, how's the Batman coming? How's the Batman coming? And he was trying to promote his movie Live by Night, and he was getting frustrated. And I completely get that, because not only is he the director, the producer, the writer, the actor in it, but here he is like trying to like tell people just like, dude, like ask me about this movie that I'm like trying to promote. Like I'm working on the Batman, you know? So he was getting frustrated, and I can understand that. So people use that as an example, but what have we seen Ben Affleck do time and time again? It's not that he dislikes the character. It's not like that he doesn't want to play Batman again. It's the simple fact that it's who's doing it. You know, when he was talking about the Flash movie, when he all of a sudden came back, right? No one knew he was going to come back. And he came back, and he did an interview with people, and he just said, I hope they keep the integrity of what we did. You know, it just, what that shows is, he had some doubts then about Warner Brothers as a studio, that without Zack Snyder, he did not trust them to keep the integrity of his scenes. And he also did the Aquaman's, you know, post credit, whatever he was supposed to be in there. So, you know, they didn't keep the integrity of all those scenes because they had other plans. But to me, it shows he does want to play the character. He would like to be Batman. He loves that character. He loves The Dark Knight Returns. This is his all-time favorite comic. There's Zack Snyder talking about if there's one movie left, if he was told he only got to make one DC movie forever, he was like, I want to do Dark Knight Returns, and Ben Affleck's my Batman. You don't think if this actually happens, let's just say in some crazy world where, like, I don't know, Netflix gets you know, Warner Brothers Discovery, and they're going to do all their DC movies, maybe continue the Gunverse. I'm just throwing it out there. You know, but they're going to do a spin-off movie with Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck. You're going to tell me like Ben wouldn't come back to do a Dark Knight Returns movie even? Like, Ben, depending on who is behind the chair, behind the director's chair, who's leading the charge, if Ben sees a certain name come up and it's about Batman, he's going to answer the call and he's going to put back on the suit. You know, that's just the way he is. He loves that character.
Exactly, Trey. I agree with you completely. And I will say with Dark Knight Returns, in general, I know we don't worry about like age for the actors in terms of them being older for like the
Yeah.
Batfleck movies, the SJL 2 and 3. Dark Knight Returns is the one project out there where I'm like, you know what? Wait a little bit on that one. Let Ben Affleck get a little bit older for that one. Because we don't Dark Knight Returns, he's actually supposed to be like 60s, 70s. I think 70. I don't know. How old is?
I think he's technically, he's either like, I think he's just 60. Batman's age and dark. Oh, bro, mid to late 50s.
Say that again. Got cut off.
Oh, mid to late 50s is what it says. They think he was 55.
Really? I don't know. He's a lot older than that in the dark.
Well, I mean, stress will do that to you, I guess, if you're Batman and you're fighting crime every night. So, I mean, Ben Affleck, he's that age now. He just happens to, you know, look good enough to play a Batman in his 40s, and possibly you could maybe fake people out for 30s, but you know, he could do it. Ben played Batman 26 and 27.
Oh, sorry, best comic show ever. I got for.
You got that for Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I read the comic before. I got like this particular copy for Christmas because I only read it digitally. I've never read it. I've never had a physical copy of it, so now I have a physical copy of it. So
I got the first prints back there on my wall, and I have quite a few different versions of the, you know, collection of the graphic novels. But Corey recently, I think a year ago, he got me for Christmas the Frank Miller signed Dark Knight Returns. And I was like, oh, a cherry on top. Oh, I love that comic. It's my favorite. So hence why when I saw Ben Affleck in the suit for that first time, I knew exactly what they were doing. And I was like, all right, I'm sold. Ben Affleck's going to be amazing. So yeah, I'm not worried about Ben. I know if Zack Snyder's behind the director's chair or heavily involved, Ben will do it. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I heard a rumor. I didn't make this a topic because I couldn't. Like, I saw the post, but I couldn't find the post, so I didn't really feel comfortable making a whole topic. But I saw a post on there that Zack Snyder wants to do a Batman, wants to direct a Bat movie with Ben Affleck, and I'm thinking either Dark Knight Returns, or I remember Mikey Sutton said that while Ben Affleck does want to do the Batfleck movie still, he doesn't want to direct it anymore. He still wants to star in it. He still wants to be involved in it, like use the script and everything. You know, maybe tweak it a little bit for the times. But there were different people who wanted to direct it, one of them being Zack Snyder.
I mean, in all fairness, I think Zack is he is a perfect choice to direct a Batman film with Ben Affleck as his Batman. I don't know who else you would get to do it. Like, to me, it's like you either get Ben to do it or Zack to do it. I can't think of another director I'd be like, oh, he would be able to do and match the tone. Because, I mean, what are we still thinking? Like, Batman v Superman, like the warehouse scene, still the greatest like Batman fight sequence ever. You know, it doesn't get any better than that. And it's hell, even Zack Snyder's Justice League didn't do it. You know, and there's some great scenes in that. But we still all say that warehouse scene, that's peak right there, you know. So
you need a solo Batman film to top that.
Maybe
because, like, you know, because it's Zack Snyder's Justice League, there's a lot of characters.
Yeah, and with
go on.
The Deathstroke thing, you know, with Joe Manganiello, if we would have gotten something like from Arkham Origins, that whole fight sequence, it may have beat the warehouse scene for sure.
Arkham Origins, not Arkham Knight. I don't want them to use the Arkham Knight fight for the Batfleck movie.
Did I say Arkham Knight or did I say Arkham Origins?
No, you said Arkham Origins. I'm just emphasizing Arkham Origins because they're both in the same universe. But you said Arkham Origins. But I'm just like, no, don't. But this actually kind of sideways. So Zack Snyder liked another Batfleck post. So I make sure I have this up here. So Zack Snyder. He said, Zack Snyder was like my post that caption. Still, Ben Affleck is Batman. Never lose hope. It's happening, guys. Liked by Zack Snyder. And this is Zack Snyder fans on Instagram. So, wait, I don't know why I didn't follow them already, but so many SnyderVerse accounts out there. But yeah, look at this right here. And you think about this. This kind of brings us full circle with I was showing those posts in the beginning, and now here, Zack Snyder is showing interest in DC still. If Zack Snyder was done with DC, why is he liking a post about his actor for Batman still being Batman? Is there, Trey? Is there a reason that Zack Snyder would do that?
I mean, Zack just loves Batman, especially with anything that comes about it with Ben Affleck. Like that's his guy. He's always willing to support him in every way possible. And just as we saw with what Zack did with Superman, with Henry Cavill saying like that is Superman, and everyone knew he was Superman the moment he put on the suit. I think it's the same way with Ben Affleck, and it's really cool. I love that Zack is still such a champion for all these actors. And it's not like Ben Affleck needs championing, right? Like it's Ben Affleck. He's an A-lister. He's doing big films. He owns his own production company now. So it's like, Zack is just, I think that's just him, being the good-hearted dude that he is and a fan of the genre. Like you can't deny he was a geek of superhero comics. He loved it, breathes it.
Yes, exactly. But I just think with me with this and the post that he's doing, I definitely think something is being hinted. Because again, you got to look at all these angles, right? You can't look at like this angle alone to me doesn't mean a lot. The post alone don't mean a lot. This whole Netflix thing alone doesn't mean a lot. But when you put it all together, like they're all pieces of the puzzle. When you put these pieces together, it means something.
I would definitely say if it's not, it's some crazy coincidence. It's one of those. It's too coincidental. Especially like Zack when he like first jumped on the Instagram and like when all the Netflix stuff was starting to blow up, and all of a sudden he's starting to like show more DC stuff than normal. Even if you followed him on Vero, he wasn't showing DC stuff constantly anymore. He was focused on other things that was going on in his life. And all of a sudden, when he gets on Instagram and the Netflix conversation pops up, all of a sudden you start to see Zack every day posting DC stuff. So I do believe Zack is one of those people. He knows by now that if I post certain things, I'm going to rattle some people up. I'm going to get my fans and followers a little hyped, a little bit, motivated. I mean, he before movies, he was in advertising. He did ads. He directed ads. He knows how to promote sales. He knows how to promote the thing he wants you to want. That's one of the best things. Part of what has made Zack such a successful movie director and the partnership that he does with these studios is he knows how to promote his own stuff. He knows how to take charge and tell them like, no, this is how we're going to do it. When he started working on Army of the Dead and he did all these cool little things leading up to Army of the Dead, he did a lot of YouTube streams that, were like little games for people to do or like little hints and secrets so that people could get invested and really into the lore of Army of the Dead. And he did the same thing for Rebel Moon. There was all that promotion and specialized promotion leading up to it. So I do think there's something going on here. It just seems too It'd be crazy if there wasn't. It'd be crazy if Zack was like, "There's nothing ever going on. Like I was just messing with you guys. I was just trying to get followers on Instagram." Like it.
That'd be a dick move.
I don't see him being that way, Rich. I mean, why would he need Instagram followers? He doesn't need that type of ego. He doesn't need to feed that. He's already a big director. He already makes a lot of money. He already, is like, it's one of those, like, it makes no sense for it to be a power trip, an ego trip. This is all a sell right now. He's I bet you $1 million. Well, I don't want to say I bet you $1 million. I don't have $1 million, but I'm pretty sure that he's doing, like, you see this? You see how many likes I'm getting on this thing? You see how many likes I'm getting every day about this? Saying restore, restore, restore. Like bring the SnyderVerse back, bring the SnyderVerse back. All that stuff. Bring it to Netflix. SnyderVerse on Netflix, CSJL on Netflix. All this stuff that he's not like showing it to somebody and like going, they want this. Like, cough up the money. And that's why I say Netflix is very interesting, because Netflix has that ability to be like, let's say the craziest shit happens. I think Netflix is confident in their property, how they stream things, even that they could be like, guess what? We're going to give it to you all. You want the Gunverse? You're going to get the Gunverse, except for it's going to be all streaming. It's going to be a multiverse there. Theatrical releases are all going to be the SnyderVerse. You're all going to get that there. And maybe we'll have a couple of Matt Reeves either in the theaters or streaming, because guess what? Netflix does not care. They just want content. That's what they're all about. They're just about, remember when Netflix was like, guess what we're going to do, folks? Every week of the year, we're going to be putting out a new movie on Netflix. I think that was like 2023 or 2024, something like that, where they did that. Every week, a new movie. Has any studio ever done that? Has Warner Brothers ever been like, we're going to put out a movie every week? No, because the movie studios are usually like, shit, we don't want one movie to compete with the other movie. Like, and not only that, we can't kick out movies like that. Netflix was a new movie each week. New content each week. If they want to continue that mentality of just piling on content that people are going to watch, and you know what, from there, they're going to decide. We've clearly seen Netflix is not afraid to like cut shows off after one season. If James Gunn's Supergirl series that he wants to do on Netflix doesn't do well, sorry, we're not going to keep paying for something that does well. And it would go the same for Zack. If it happens, I don't think it will,
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Rebel Moon was a success.
Rebel Moon was a success. I mean, and Army of the Dead was here's the part that I think is kind of like the part that breaks me a little bit with Zack Snyder. He has been like so on lately with like all of his content that he's been making, from Army of the Dead to Twilight of the Gods to Rebel Moon, that to me there's so many franchises he built for them that how do you choose which one to go to? It's gonna break my heart. Like, as much as I want the SnyderVerse back, it's gonna break my heart to know that I'm gonna have to wait for Rebel Moon Part 3 for a while. I'm gonna have to wait for Army of the Dead or Planet of the Dead for a while. I will gladly wait, but it's like one of those, like, damn it. Like, Zack, can you be a little better about giving other projects to other people, so that way I don't have to wait?
And, maybe that will happen. Maybe that's exactly what will happen with some of these other projects. But, I'm really glad you said your Netflix comment, Trey, because this brings me to kind of the last topic before my little speech at the end. But will Netflix do this? I mean, you talk about Netflix can do this, and we all agree Netflix will they do this? And I've shown some stuff in the past, but a new ad came up on Netflix, and it's a 10-second ad. I'm gonna show it, but I am gonna mute it just because, copyright and all that jazz.
Okay.
But it's captioned, so let's share screen. And there's something really key I want you guys to look out for. So Netflix and Warner Brothers, championing stories and storytellers. Together, we're expanding cherished franchises, creating new worlds, and bringing amazing stories to fans everywhere. So let's share this. So I'm sure you know which part that I'm talking about, but
seems purposeful, doesn't
it? What value for investors? What movie is? Does that look like Superman 2025 to you?
That's definitely it, because that's
I'm just saying, like,
clearly Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern in the middle. Is it not? No.
No, it's Gal Gadot Wonder Woman with Aquaman and Cyborg, because the Justice version of that scene cuts out Aquaman and Cyborg and has a red filter. This is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're all set on Gunny Poo's universe, why aren't you showing that? Like, why aren't you showing the current DC movie that just came out? Like, I'm just saying, like,
that was a huge success.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. But they're showing the SnyderVerse, value for investors.
Yeah.
And so
Superman was such a huge success, yet Jurassic World Rebirth blew it out of the water in the box office and blew it out of the water on home sales. It was a huge success.
I remember. I saw Jurassic World twice in theaters. In fact, I did a review with Josh the weekend that Superman came out. I think that's despite Superman, honestly, because but
I did the same. I went to go see Jurassic World Rebirth again.
Oh yeah, I think I saw it in theaters that weekend too, just to be like, F you to Superman. But just seeing that, Trey, though, like, isn't that just the fact that out of everything that they could have chosen any DC movie, first of all. They chose Zack Snyder's Justice League. They could have said anything. They They said value for investors.
Yeah, no, I think that's very telling. Because why would you use something like Squid Game just ended this last year, so they showed content from that. What was the other thing? I missed what the other
Here, it's a 10-second ad. We can just show it again. I forget, I don't know what the copyright rules are exactly, but I'm pretty sure 10 seconds is fine, or 13, but it's
that's Squid Games. I'm not sure what that is.
It's hard to tell. I think it's not a great lighting, honestly. I think I need to fix the brightness setting on my computer or something.
Oh, well, that's Minecraft, which huge movie, right? In 2025, made a lot of money for Warner Brothers. But why wouldn't you, for as big as Superman supposedly is, why wouldn't you use that? Why are you using a clip from a movie that came out 3 years ago? And more importantly, you're using Aquaman, Cyborg, and Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is, and I'm not downplaying those characters, but I think it's fair to say, based off comic book sales, based off movie sales, and what's currently in production, why wouldn't you use your two biggest characters, Batman and Superman?
Mm-hmm.
No, you use Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's kind of telling.
And
why not even use Peacemaker?
Yeah, Peacemaker season 2 just came out. Creature Commandos came out. No,
either of those, because
Netflix has their own vision. That's the thing. Netflix they have what they think is successful, and they want to make money. Here's the thing: Zaslav bought Warner Brothers to flip it, to sell it off. Netflix wants long-term investment. They want the thing that's going to make them money, and they believe that will be the SnyderVerse. Some people say Netflix wants to do their own thing. I think eventually they will want to do their own thing, absolutely. But I think they want to finish the SnyderVerse first in terms of their DC stuff.
it would be a smart move on their part, and this is what I've heard a lot of people kind of talk about, where this is where Warner Brothers Discovery went wrong. You had an established universe that people were actively wanting to see the finish of, and there was a perfect story at the end to tie it off and let you do whatever you wanted to after that, and let James Gunn have plenty of time to figure out what he wanted to do with his revamped DCU rebirth, if you want to call it. Well, no, instead you got what you did with Superman. You got what you got with Creature Commandos. You got what you got with Peacemaker, which, from my understanding, did horrible in viewership in season 2. So, and really dropped off. Creature Commandos never topped any of it, and somehow got greenlighted for season 2. So that sounded like it was kind of pushed, to be honest. Not that I'm against it. Sometimes you need a season 2 to figure things out. Season 1's really just to see if people are interested. And my guess is probably not. I mean, here's the point. Penguin clearly did well. Creature Commandos, Peacemaker season 2 did not do as well either. So it's like, why aren't you using the things that are current? Why aren't you using things to market Warner Brothers Discovery that apparently has a future? And I put that in quotes, because as we're told right now, the SnyderVerse is dead, right? There's no hope. There's nothing that's coming back yet. You have Zack Snyder's Justice League in an investor's ad. Wouldn't your investors be like, oh, see you later, Integrity. Oh, good hearing for you, my man. I love when he says inevitable.
Me too.
Why wouldn't your investors be like, oh, Superman? I know Superman, but you're talking about a movie that never had a theatrical release. You put that on there. It's very telling. I do think that alone was a tip of the cap to some people.
100%. And I just want to clarify Integrity's comment. I definitely think it's possible they will do more after ZSJL 2 and 3. I'm just saying if they did want to do their own thing, that they could just conclude and move on. But I do think that depending on the success, which it will be, I absolutely do think they can and will do more. And if they can, we can get the expansion. But I'm just saying, me personally, if we just get Man of Steel 2, the Batfleck movie, ZSJL 2 and 3, and then director's cuts, since those are already filmed, and they want to reboot after that, I would be fine with that. But if they want to do more, I ain't complaining. If they want to do a lot more than that, I'm not protesting that, guys. I'm just making a point. There's a lot of different possibilities here, is all. So I do want to just make sure that's clarified. But yes, exactly, Trey. They want to show the leader, or they want to show the investors what they view as successful. The investors know what was actually a success. Okay, they know Superman 2025 was. So ZSJL Phase 2 coming soon. So, and I just think this is just another good sign. This is another piece of the puzzle that's needed. We got the whole fiasco with Paramount, and clearly that ain't happening. You got Zack Snyder posting on Instagram. You got Ben Affleck clearly showing excitement by keeping the Ben Affleck suit, suit in his office. You got Zack Snyder liking posts about Ben Affleck as Batman. There's all these pieces of the puzzle that are coming together. And I think that, it was hard, right? 3 years ago when we had that whole news with Henry Cavill, it was a hard time for us all. And it's like we have this new hope now. It's actually exciting to talk about DC again. We might actually, I shouldn't speak for the Bat Channel, but we may actually see the Bat Channel be able to talk about DC again and be excited about it. Like, this is a real... the Bat Channel might be a DC channel again. Be able to be a DC channel again.
We ain't never going back. We'll definitely talk about the SnyderVerse, though.
Well, I know. Obviously, I love the Bat Channel. I'm just saying, there's a lot of great possibilities here at the end of the day. And personally, speaking of Two-Face and Matt Damon, I think Matt Damon will be Two-Face because Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne were best friends. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, Bruce best friends.
That's an interesting choice.
I would say, I know Thin Havoc's trying to say Reverse Flash, maybe, but to me, I would say Two-Face. I think Harvey Two-Face would be perfect for Matt Damon.
You know who's someone I really want to see kind of come in, and I actually want Zack Snyder to do it as well. I think he would make a really kick-ass noir film with Question, and I want Adrian Brody as Question. I think, and I always thought, like, I know he wanted Riddler to be the one that finds out the anti-life equation. I always thought it would have been cool if it was the Question that figured it out, but that's just me.
Only reason though is that the Riddler's a bad guy, the Question is not. So I don't see the Question wanting to work for Darkseid, but maybe if the Question was the key to stopping the anti-life equation or something like that, though.
Yeah, something like that would have been cool. But yeah.
I know it would. I'm just saying it's more poetic with Two-Face is all. But still though,
you guys got some interesting casting. Huh.
But I still think there's a lot of great possibilities with this at the end of the day. And Trey, I really appreciate you coming on to discuss all this with me. This was a really fun stream, and it was really great streaming with you again. And this was a really special stream for me to do, a really 500 subscriber stream, because honestly, it's all of you that make this happen. Yeah, I'm the one who's making the content, but it's the fact that you guys keep supporting my channel, which I really appreciate. That my channel's grown so much, especially in these last few weeks, honestly. It's funny, some weeks I'll get no new subscribers, and other weeks I just get a shit ton at once. It's funny how that works out, but I really appreciate my loyal viewers, my fans, of watching. I started off as this guy who just appeared on other people's channels, and I had my one skydive video on here, and that was it. But this channel has really blossomed and grown. I've gone from just recording videos and just uploading them to really doing a lot more effort in my content, doing these live streams with actual intro and background, doing clips and editing the clips even. So if you want some short form content, you can get some short form content too. There's so much. My channel has grown so much, and I'm really thankful for all of you for making this happen. That's, I really, all of you viewers who supported me, all of you through the ups, the downs. I've done all sorts of DC content, Marvel content, Star Wars content. I've done it all, and obviously I know there's people who watch certain content, and me too, with channels I subscribe to. Same thing with me, but still, all of you whatever you watch from my channel, you help me grow, and I appreciate you. I appreciate the friends I've collaborated with. I appreciate all of you. So I just thank you guys so much for my channel and helping me get to this far. And I know when I get to 1,000K, and I will, and then when I get to my cushion after that, because it's the same thing, I technically did reach 500 subscribers for a while now, but I wanted to wait till I got that cushion because people unsubscribe. That's the YouTube game, unfortunately. So I get my cushion, but still, it's all of you guys who made this happen. So thank you all for being such loyal supporters, and I really appreciate it. I'm just really happy to see how far my channel has come. When I started this channel 3 years ago, I never would have thought I got to this point. But the fact that I'm here now with all of you guys and really building my own subscriber base slowly too. I like the overlap with the other channels, but I starting to get some of my own people as well I'm seeing. So thank you all. I really appreciate this, and there'll be a lot more things to come on this channel. You best believe it. I have a lot of ideas I'm expanding on, so thank you. And thank you, Trey, for joining me for this. I could think of no one else I would have wanted for this.
Thank you, man. Hey, it's awesome. I always say that the coolest thing in the world is seeing your friends be successful, the fact that I remember when Sky first jumped on a stream and was I'm thinking about doing a YouTube show, and we were just go for it, dude, do it. And you were the same one. You were all these other people, Leon, or when APAS was all these people, when they created their channels, and seeing you guys flourish and coming on and doing your own thing too, having your own voices. it's seriously, it's the coolest scene. Like, it's not like a proud papa thing. It's just like a damn, that's awesome. Like, building a community of content creators and then watching them flourish with their community of fan base and followers. Like, it's so cool. And dude, like 500 is like amazing, but I know like at some point you're just gonna like blow up to like 2K, 5K, you know, and you're gonna be like, wow, I don't know like what happened, how we got here, but you deserve it, dude. Seriously, like I'm proud of you and keep up the hard work. And thank you for having me a part of this special day of 500, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I really appreciate it. And thank you again to you and your brother. You know, when Zyrider interviewed me for late night Q&A, Corey was the one who just dropped the question in the chat. So that's, I think, was the final push I needed. So
awesome. That's cool to hear. Yeah, well, really, see, now he'll love that. He'll be like, you owe him a Christmas, you know, celebration. So
don't push it. He'll get a Christmas celebration after Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
But still, though, guys, all of you, to everyone who's been on my channel, thank you all. And wrap up coming up. So, Trey, I believe you had a video that released today, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we did, like right before. Oh, not right before, but like earlier today, we did release our Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 trailer reaction. We're super stoked for that TV show. That's coming out in February. Corey and I will also be releasing our top 5 movies of 2025. We have a bit of a twist to it this round. We made it a bit of a game where Corey and I basically, we realized like our first year that we did our top 5 films, we kind of had similar tastes, which was kind of weird. We didn't expect that. So we had like films in different placements. So for us not to pick like the same movies anymore, if we say a film, like the other person can't say it anywhere. So if Corey said, for an example, Jurassic World Rebirth on my, you know, on his, like, it was his 5th place movie. And if I had it on my 1st place, I can't say it. So I have to pick something else. So it's going to be kind of a fun little game of Super Bro versus Bat Channel again. And I'm really excited for you guys to see that, because we might have some weird films that you were kind of like, whoa, wasn't expecting that. And then maybe a few that are like, oh yeah, that makes sense for the Bat Channel. And then eventually we will be doing a live stream where we're going to announce some big things, some big changes coming up for the Bat Channel. So when that live stream happens, make sure when you see the bat signal, answer it, because some it's a big deal. Some big changes are coming. So yeah, that's what's going on with us. Hope to see you there.
Hey, Trey, I've missed you, honestly. Like, seeing you do live streams. I know you've had a lot of real life stuff that's exactly, and that's why I don't take for granted you coming on this stream, because I know parenting takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. So, but I cannot wait to see what changes your channel brings. Well, we'll see. I mean, I might see some changes and be like, oh, that sucks. I'm going to miss Trey and Super Bro. And I'm guessing, by the way, if this is like actually happening, guys, this is just a guess, just so you know. Like, I'm going to miss Trey when this becomes the Super Bro channel, and Super Bro.
That's exactly it. It's you blew the surprise. It's Super Bro channel all the way. So I'm retiring. But Corey's going to continue. No, it's a damn it. I was supposed to be a big surprise. I even made Corey a little logo on a little piece of paper. Oh gosh, he would love that. He would love it. It was just a Super Bro channel.
Well, like when we did the Black Adam review and I banned you from your own channel.
That hurts. That one still stings a bit. I sometimes it's always fun. I don't know if you do this, Batam, but like if you you get through a year of being, doing your channel, do you ever like go back and see like where have I been? Like what have I done to get a little bit better? Like how did I do my shows like in formats and stuff? And I always pass by that one and be like, I don't even need to look at it. Batam was mean. Just messing.
I know. Trey and I, just so people know, we rip on each other a lot. It's great, but
no, I actually.
But yeah, coming up for me. But anyways, coming up for me on my channel, RIP is coming out this week, so I'm definitely gonna be in channel content to cover that. And then I'll be promoting One Punch Man a lot since that's coming out soon. So, and I'm gonna be covering a lot of this Warner Brothers sale because this Warner Brothers sale is really big news right now, and it's exciting news to talk about. It's something like I can actually talk about DC and be excited again. So there's a lot of great stuff coming up on this channel, a lot of exciting stuff coming up on this channel, and I'll be pushing. Today I just wanted to celebrate, but after this stream, celebration's over. I'm going to be pushing 1K a lot more right now after this stream. So be on the lookout for that. And guys, if you like this stream, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more unique takes, interesting thoughts, and to see me grow as a channel. And on that note, any final words, Trey?
I don't mean to steal this, but I hope you have a bat-tastic week.
Let's have a fantastic journey to 1K subscribers.
Okay.